Good evening, everyone. Calling to order the Parks and Rec Commission meetings for July 28th at 5:33 p.m. The agenda was posted last Wednesday. I don't know what that date is. And has everybody had a chance to read the minutes?
First.
Anything needs to roll call? Oh, first? Oh, yeah, sorry. All right, I jumped the gun.
Commissioners, when I call you, please indicate that you are present. Chair Moralia,
Present.
Commissioner Admeyer,
Present.
Commissioner Davis is excused, Commissioner Diaz,
Present.
Commissioner Ferguson,
Present.
Commissioner Fine,
Present.
Commissioner Finland,
Present.
Commissioner Nagaya,
Present.
Commissioner Phillips,
Present.
Commissioner Roddy,
Present.
Commissioner Shands. Is out. We have a quorum.
Great. Okay, back to approval of the minutes. Any changes to the minutes? If not, can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
Commissioner or Chair Moralia,
Approved.
Commissioner Admeyer,
Approved.
Commissioner Diaz,
Approved.
Commissioner Ferguson,
Approved.
Commissioner Fine.
I have to. Let's see.
Yeah. Not allowed.
I guess I wasn't here. Hey,
But if you read and watched it, you're allowed to vote on
approved.
Commissioner Finland,
Approved.
Commissioner Nagaya,
Approved.
and Commissioner Roddy.
Approved.
They're not on this one, but. Okay, motion approved.
Public comments. This time has been set aside for members of the public to address the Parks and Recreation Commission on agenda items and items of general interest within the subject matter jurisdiction of the commission. Although the commission values your comments pursuant to the Brown Act, it generally cannot take any action on items not listed on the posted agenda. 3 minutes are assigned for each speaker. Do we have any live in-person speakers? Yeah. Do we have any on Zoom?
If you're joining us via Zoom, please use the raise hand feature to indicate that you would like to speak.
Do we read this into the record?
That's the first question.
No member using Zoom.
Done with public comment. Do you want to answer Commissioner Ferguson's question? She's asking about the email.
Should we
Yes.
read that into the record?
Sure, so we don't necessarily need to read that for the record. There was a public comment that was submitted via email to the department this afternoon. The public comment is in reference to item A regarding placement of public art. It's a member of the public stating in support of public art placement in the park. That will be filed into the record as part of the minutes, and it is at each of your seats for your review. So we won't necessarily need to read that all, but it is available for each of you to review.
Great, thanks. Well, you're on director's report.
All right, thank you, Parks and Recreation Commissioners. So I'll give you a brief update of what the department has been up to since our last commission meeting. We'll first start off with some city council agenda items. On June 25th, the department took an approval of an agreement with Action Park Alliance for operation and management of the Palm Springs Skate Park. The agreement allows us to enter into an agreement with them for 3 years to manage and operate the skate park with 2 additional 1-year options. So that was approved and we are now working and have an official operations agreement with them. The other item on that same meeting was an agreement that the Public Works Department took to the council for approval of the construction contract. And that is for the renovation of the existing spray ground at the downtown park. So we're really excited that that's going to get fixed and repaired. And Aaron, our project manager from the Public Works Department, will present that a little bit later on. On July 9th, we took an item to the council for approval of the Talkwitz Creek Golf Course parking lot asphalt replacement project. Sorry, that's a long name. That too was approved, and since then it's actually been completed. So John Brickley, our project manager in Parks and Recreation, will go ahead and give an update about that in just a little bit. And then on July 21st, we did award a construction contract with DRDNC for the pickleball project over at Demuth Park. We recently had a conversation with Commissioner Finland regarding an update on that project, which he'll probably talk about in his ad hoc committee report. Due to budget constraints, as previously we had discussed, we are now building 22 instead of the 24 pickleball project. But now this is all under budget and it allows us to go ahead and proceed and move forward. So that's an update on that. We did have a couple of new members that we've added to the Parks and Recreation team. We have Adrian Rescio and Duff Ryan, who are two newest lifeguards over at the swim center. Adrian worked as a lifeguard with the Desert Recreation District at the Mecca Community Pool. He has an associate's degree in English from College of the Desert and a bachelor's degree in literature and writing from California State University, San Marcos. And in his free time, he collects Lego, plays video games, and is enjoying spending time with his soon-to-be wife. Duff Ryan, who is also a lifeguard, comes to us with vast experience in the customer service industry. Duff has a bachelor's degree in psychology from the University of Miami, where he also swam for them. And he was previously a freelance stylist and also taught at the Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising. And then as of last week, we have our newest project manager, Ed Mondragon, who's focusing on internal systems over at the Leisure Center. Ed comes to us from the city of San Francisco, where he most recently served as a Public Works Project Services Director. In his role in San Francisco, Ed led cross-functional teams that supported large and complex public works operations and focused on critical infrastructure, operations, programs, and projects. Prior to his time with the city of San Francisco, Ed also worked for other notable organizations such as Cisco System Business Solutions, United Airlines, and Wells Fargo Financial Management Services, just to name a few. Ed will be reporting to Nisha, our Assistant Director of Parks and Recreation, and he'll be focusing on all project management for internal operations for the department. So we're excited to welcome these three new members to the Parks and Recreation team. A couple of other updates of what we've been up to on the programming side. We've partnered with the Palm Springs Surf Club to provide local days for discounted admission at the surf club. So on Wednesday, July 16th, Parks and Recreation staff met with attendees of the Palm Springs Local Days event to share all things happening in Parks and Recreation. It was a great event. We had over 50 people participate in that Locals Days, which provided discounted admission. So it was really a wonderful opportunity for us to have a partnership with the Surf Club. Our next Locals Days will be on August 13th, and it'll be during 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on that day. And so we're really excited for our partnership with them. A quick recap on Independence Day. So as on July 4th, we had several different activities happening in Sunrise Park. We had a pool party at the swim center. We had a concert in the park in Sunrise Park. There was a baseball game at the Palm Springs Stadium. And then of course, we ended the evening with a fireworks spectacular show, also at the stadium and in the surrounding areas. So guests enjoyed a weekend of festivities, including all that I said, but there was also a kickoff party event on Thursday night at Village Fest. And then we were supposed to have a dive-in movie on Saturday, but I'll get to that in just a little bit. This past Saturday here at the Demuth Community Center, we had our backpack giveaway events from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. We gave away nearly 300 backpacks to the community, and we had resource booths, prizes, and a bunch of volunteers who volunteered their time to participate in that event. It was a wonderful event for the community to participate in, and lots of activity here at Demuth. So kudos to the team and all of our volunteers who volunteered their time for that. Also this past Saturday, we had a rescheduled event of Wicked, which was our movie night that we held at the Palm Springs Pavilion. It was a free movie showing, and we sold $5 hot dog meals as part of this event. It was rescheduled to an indoor location because previously we had to cancel the event due to wind happening in the park. So due to the heat, we moved that inside to the pavilion. On Friday, June 26th, the Parks and Recreation team took our campers, nearly 100 campers, to Disneyland for an excursion. You can see pictured here, we had a bunch of campers that participated in that event. It was a fun time for all of them to participate in that and really provided exposure, as many of our campers had never been to Disneyland before. So it was a wonderful experience for our campers to participate in that. Some upcoming programs to be aware of are for kids only. FO program at the Palm Springs Leisure Center has opened up registration. This program provides school pickup at select schools, homework help, games and activities, arts and crafts, and a bunch of more activities as part of that program. Registration is currently open, but space is limited. So if anybody is looking to take advantage of that, we encourage you to sign up very soon, as this will sell out. Also at the Leisure Center, we have our Pee Wee Rec program, which provides opportunities for music and movements, peer socialization, arts and crafts, and a bunch of other activities as part of that. That is held on Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays from 9:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. at the Leisure Center. Registration is also open for this and expected to sell out, so we encourage the community to also register for this if you're interested. Some maintenance and facility highlights for all of you to be aware of. As I mentioned earlier, we were supposed to have a dive-in movie night on July 5th, but we experienced a power outage all throughout Sunrise Park that caused all of the facilities, including the library, the stadium, the leisure center, the pavilion, the skate park, and the swim center, to all be without power. Huge thank you to our public works team for really working together with us to get us generators all throughout the park. You can see pictured here, there was about 7 of those large generators all throughout the park, having to power up all the buildings. And because of the power outage, it caused a lot of issues, especially at the swim center. So you can see in that middle picture, it caused a flooding of an issue to go into the lifeguard office. And just a lot of different repairs and issues that we had to experience. So as you all can remember, as part of our commissioner facility tour, it's just a constant reminder of our aging facilities and how we need to keep up with deferred maintenance and make sure that we're keeping up with everything that's happening in our parks and recreation facilities. But again, thank you to our public works team, because all those generators are now gone. They've been repaired, and we're now off generators currently. Some other items that our park maintenance team have been up to, they recently completed an inventory of all the swings on our playgrounds, and made some replacements to slide repairs that had been damaged and graffitied. And so you can see that pictured here, that they made several replacements all throughout our parks, and they're keeping eyes on that to make sure that our parks are safe and enjoyable for our community to enjoy. They also restored a bench at the Wellness Park, which is pictured here on the left. And they worked with our swim center team to build some new equipment, being the lifeguard towers that we just got newly installed over at the swim center. The Parks and Maintenance team has also been busy in just maintaining other areas throughout our parks. So other maintenance work that they've completed are power washing of all the barbecue stations. They fixed water fill stations in several of our parks, repainted some of our benches, restored graffiti damaged bench at the Muth Park, and sealed the volleyball court sand at Ruth Hardy Park. And then I'll pass it over to John Brickley, our project manager, to give you some updates on some capital projects.
All right, thank you. I'm trying to follow along here on my phone. So the temporary pickleball courts, we did, receive all of the approvals earlier in May. Our parks maintenance team also has been working a lot with us on that, doing cleanup and improvements there. They installed a both gravel pathway. They had to do a little bit of grading and get that all set up. All of the fence work has been complete. All the there's a new gate there that will be accessible for everybody once we open that. Our surfacing work was delayed a little bit. Our original contractor we had a license issue with, so we selected a second contractor. That agreements actually went out today for signatures, and we expect them to start next Monday on the 4th. And then all the signage, pathway, finishing touches, all the other things like that will be coming soon. I'm gonna phone share. Please stand right here so I can. I'm sorry, everybody. Okay, so the contractor resubmitted plans to the city for the Ruth Hardy Park playground on June 11th. Those plans were rejected. I had a meeting last week with city management, building and safety department, and the consultants, as well as our vendors to align efforts I'm confident at this point we have the means needed to expedite that. We have city management pushing, on everything we need to get this done. Construction now expected to commence hopefully sometime next month, if not September of this year, contingent upon all the necessary approvals. And completion date is tentative depending on approval of all of that, us getting started on it. The Desert Highland Park playground replacement. Sorry. We met with the vendor to further assess the redesign options, requested a redesign including increased accessibility features. Our funding source shift from deferred maintenance to Measure J. And as part of that, we had asked, if we had the ability to change the footprint. We had asked this originally to see if we could save on some of the engineering aspects by combining, say, the shade structures into one larger one. Now that it is Measure J, we've been told we can do that, so we've asked the vendor to produce some renderings for that. We're gonna coordinate with the neighborhood organization up there as well, to discuss kind of our approach was if they want to see, and just help kind of manage expectations through that process. And if we do move forward with that combined footprint, we've also been looking at what are we gonna do with that current 2 to 5 year old site that's there now, which is this one right here. So we've got a few different options that we're kind of floating around into what we can do with that site as well, not just turn it back into sand and weed. The swim center redesign, pretty status quo on that one right now. We're working on just defining scope, making a few little adjustments to that project with the CIP team, leading more on that. One of the things I'm hoping to have back some clarification on soon, we've been hearing a lot of questions on, is the perforation on the metal over the roof. A lot of people express they like that outdoor feeling, so we're trying to see what are the options, what's the percentage that we can have perforated, et cetera, and still keep structurally fine. So more to come on. Other projects currently in development, the David H. Ready Dog Park fence, we're working in conjunction with Public Arts and our parks maintenance staff to assess that, to see how can we go about fixing that damaged area in the fence in the back. The downtown park amphitheater, if you see on the bottom right here, outlined in red, we've been meeting with a couple different landscape architects to give us some proposals on some design, conceptual designs for us to take back and see, what do we want to do, and that feasibility assessment on that. Beautiful shade, we've been coordinating with the Public Art Commission as well, and our parks maintenance team. We were out there last week, take a look at where that's going to go, and just making sure we have everything ready for the contractor for that install. And that is planned for by October of this year. Hardscape and the park installations, I know Gary's got some great info for us, so I'll save that for him. We do have Spaghetti sculpture in our possession, the city does. I know all the other ones are ready to go. So I'm looking forward to getting those going soon. The Palm Springs Stadium, if you see the sign here above the scoreboard, there's that Palm Springs Stadium sign. We tentatively awarded this right now. We're just waiting for confirmation back from the vendor to have a new sign put up there. It'll have our updated font in the department seal on there as well. The Tacos Creek Golf Course, as they mentioned, we had that parking lot asphalt replaced. We're really just coordinating on the city aspects of that, and the staff reports started Monday and was finished by Friday. There's a picture on the next slide, and then our aquatics feasibility study, the staff meeting, we've just wrapped our meetings with consultants. So we're working to put together a scope of work, send out an RFP for that feasibility study. Once we have that RFP, that unlocks the vendors, then we'll be able to move forward to the next steps with that. As we see here, on the left, that was, I believe that was Tuesday or Wednesday, they had it torn out, they were laying new asphalt, and then this morning with the picture on the right, it's already ready, so. I'll turn it over to Aaron.
Sit up here. Good evening, Commission. Aaron Ferguson, Public Works Department. I have a short update. I just wanted to give some context on the downtown splash pad project. So the pictures are not very pretty because most of this work involved is in the mechanical room, but we did start demolition last Monday. Contractors moving very quickly, and as of right now, the plan is to stick to their contract, which is 90 days. So no major updates on this, but I wanted to provide context, answer any questions you may have, and share a couple of unpretty photos.
So you're saying 90 days and then it'll be operational, or that's the
That is the agreement, that's a tentative schedule.
And that concludes our. Unless any of you have any questions for us.
Doesn't look like it.
Sounds good. All right, so we'll move it into the next section. We will invite our city clerk, Brenda Free, to go ahead and come up and help us through our next items. This is for the election of commission chair and election of commission vice chair. So I'll pass it over to Brenda. You listen to this.
Good afternoon. See you all and thank you all again for serving on this wonderful task force, giving of your time. You know, you don't get paid. So we appreciate it. It shows your passion for the city. So we recognize that. We appreciate you for sure. It does not go unnoticed. So my job here tonight is to conduct the election for your chair and your vice chair for this coming year. So at this time, I will take nominations. They're now in order for the position of chair. Do we have any nominations for that position?
I'd like to nominate John.
Okay. Any further nominations? Seeing none without objections, the nominations are closed. So we'll have John, how do you say his last name?
Moraga.
Moraga?
Moraga. Just don't say the G.
Oh, okay. For our chair, at this time, all in favor will take your yeses as you're in support of. All say yes, please.
Yes.
Those opposed, please say no. So we'll have John as your chair. And we'll have the nominations are now in order for your vice chair. Are there any nominations for vice chair of this committee?
I'd like to nominate Jace Nagaya.
Okay. Any further nominations? All in agreement signify by saying yes.
Yeah.
All opposed? So Chase, be nominated as your vice chair. Nobody. So at this time, I will take a motion to accept the election of John Chase. John is your chair and Chase is your vice chair. Can I have a motion and a second for those two?
So moved.
Second.
Madam Clerk, can you conduct a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Chair Moralia,
Yes.
Commissioner Edmar,
Yes.
Commissioner Diaz,
Yes.
Commissioner Ferguson,
Yes.
Commissioner Fine,
Yes.
Commissioner Finland,
Yes.
Commissioner Nagaya,
Yes.
Commissioner Phillips.
Yes.
Commissioner Rowdy.
Yes.
It passes, so at this time, we'll have Commissioner John Moralia as your chair and Commissioner Nagaya as your vice chair. Commissioner, your meeting. I'm done.
Thanks, Brenda.
You're welcome.
And thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
We'll continue on.
Yep. Presentation time.
All right, so we will move on to item C. We'd like to welcome Alexander Phillips as our new commissioner to the Parks and Recreation Commission. We thought it would be appropriate to go ahead and give you just an update about the department and kind of some levels of expectations for all commissioners to be aware of as we move into this new year. So I'll start with just kind of commissioner expectations for you all. The Parks and Recreation Commission, as you all know, functions as an advisory capacity to the City Council on matters relating to the planning and monitoring of parks, recreational services and facilities, operations of the municipal golf course being the Tahquitz Creek Golf Resort, special events and leisure services, programs and activities, all the programming and operations that the department operates. One thing that is separate is Village Fest is part of the Parks and Recreation Department, but that is overseen by a separate Village Fest board. Well, at times you'll hear me give updates about Village Fest. That isn't really under your purview, as that is all done separately by the Village Fest board. Some commissioner responsibilities to be aware of. We ask that all commissioners share information with your community about what's happening in the Department of Parks and Recreation. We also want you to share information from the community to myself and other staff so that we can be aware of what's going on and what's being said about the department, and we can act appropriately depending on what that information is. We ask that you attend all events and activities. We know that you can't attend everything, but being part of the community and being part of the department is helpful so that you can see what's going on and all the great work that our staff does. We also want you to be an advocate for the department. And by doing so, that's, you're showing up to events, you're helping to relay information to the community, but also sharing that with other commissioners and board members from throughout the city. And then also with your city council liaison, so you can talk and share everything about all the wonderful things that we do. At times, you'll be involved in special projects or assignments, being those ad hoc committees that we'll talk about later on in the agenda. And then also at times is that you'll give recommendations to the city council based on what staff may come to you and present items that then you'll take to the city council for further recommendation and adoption by the council. Commission meetings, again, you're serving in an advisory capacity, and so you're not necessarily giving staff direction, but you're instead giving us recommendations on how we can change operations, change programming, change things that we're doing all throughout the departments. We want you to engage in the commission meetings. We want to hear feedback. We want you to hear what's going on and let us know as part of these meetings. At times, and really now, is you'll review policies and make recommendations. We have a lot of policy writing that we do have to do for the department. There aren't really a lot of policies set in place. And so at times, as you'll see later on today, we'll bring forth policies that we want you to be able to adopt and make those official so that we can actually enforce some of that throughout our operations. And then during commission meetings is you'll receive updates about what's going on in the department, right? And so we want you to be engaged and participate in that so that you have a firm understanding of everything that we're doing from the department level. For the chair, his responsibilities are to brief with myself in advance of the meeting. We'll go over the agenda, he'll review and understand the agenda, and kind of hear what the main talking points are going to be throughout the meeting. His job is to make sure that he keeps meetings orderly and that he follows appropriate parliamentary procedures. And when he is not available to attend, he'll inform us so that we can make sure that the vice chair is well adequately briefed so that you can go ahead and run the meeting. From the staff levels perspective is that we will work together internally with our management team to develop the agenda. We have oversight of the department budget and operations so that we can make sure that everything is running smoothly from the department standpoint. And then obviously we put on all the programs, activities, classes, and special events that are being held all throughout the city. It is also my responsibility as the director to hire, direct, and evaluate staff member performance at all levels throughout the department, or give that direction to other members for them to handle. And you'll hear constant communication from myself or Riley or Nisha about any communication that's going on that we feel that you all need to be aware of so that you have information about what's going on throughout the departments outside of commission meetings. To give you an update, the department is separated into 7 different divisions. That is the Recreation Administration Division, the James O. Jesse Desert Highland Community Center, the Demuth Community Center, Park Maintenance Division, the Leisure Center and Youth Programming Division, Special Events and Village Fest Division, and the Palm Springs Swim Center. The park system as it is today, we operate 11 parks that have a variety of different amenities, being sports, social areas, play areas, art and nature pieces, water features, and other comfort and recreational open space features all throughout the parks. We operate about 312 acres of parkland all throughout the city. And in those parks, we have 7 different facilities, those being our community centers, our swim center, the skate park, and the Palm Springs baseball stadium. We have 15 trailheads that we operate all throughout the city, 4 major trailheads that we actually operate and maintain throughout the community. Obviously operate with the management agreement with the Twockwitz Creek Golf Resorts. And we have a multitude of different programs, events, and community offerings. And really our goal and mission is to make sure that we're providing safe and equitable access to programming for all members of our community, no matter what age you are. Pictured here, I know it's small here, but this is a map of the entire park and recreation system. You could see all the different classifications of parks being from mini parks to golf courses, linear trails, regional parks and other nature areas all throughout the community. All of this is done under our purview, which is in turn under your purview as far as administration and oversight. And that gives you kind of a better idea of everything that we operate. And so with that, I just want to go again, welcome Commissioner Phillips to the Parks and Recreation Commission and hope that gives you a better idea and understanding of everything that's under your purview. Any questions? All right.
Yeah, well, thanks for that. Cool.
Try to get a name tag.
Yes, we need to make sure to get a name tag and.
Oh, no, I got one right here.
Oh, okay, good. Good. All right, so then we'll go ahead and move on to the next item, and item number D, and then we'll welcome Desert Wildlife Center to give you an update on pesticides and wildlife throughout the community.
Thank you so much for having us. My name is Laura Hedges. I serve on the board of directors for the Greater Palm Springs Animal Allies. I'm Linda Talley, and I also serve on the board of directors. So I don't know how many of you know that Greater Palm Springs Animal Allies runs the Palm Springs Animal Shelter, the city shelter. We also run the Desert Wildlife Center, which we're going to focus on today. It's out in Indio, and we just opened last week. And we're really excited about it. And Linda has done a lot of the helpline calls. She's been doing that for the last
4 or 5 months.
4 or 5 months. So
Yeah.
she's an expert on what's happening with wildlife and all the calls we've been getting. We also just opened the Desert Community Animal Center in Desert Hot Springs, which is a low-cost, easy access care center for people and their pets and DHS. So we have been Friends of the Palm Springs Animal Shelter, and now we're Greater Palm Springs Animal Allies. I just wanted to get that out there in case you're wondering, who are these people and why are they talking about wildlife? And we're really excited because the city and this region really needed a wildlife center. We're now the only licensed, permitted wildlife rehab center in all of the Coachella Valley. And actually in this region, there's none in Imperial County. So the need is great. And the few that do exist in Riverside County and San Bernardino don't take all species. We're starting with birds. We're already accepting birds. It's really important to be able to have a place for them to heal for orphaned and injured birds. And we're going to get into a little bit about why we're here talking to you, Parks and Rec. And I'm so glad we were here to see the presentation because I did not realize it's 312 acres of park spaces, which is a lot of space for people and wildlife to coexist. And let's throw those companion animals in there too, right? Our dogs, and if you're brave, a cat on a leash too. So we'd like to start with saying too that some of you might have attended the presentation that we had in partnership with the Oswald Land Trust. I also serve on the board, and we had a community lecture free at the Mizell Center, which we invited Poison Free Malibu, who has been doing some really great work about poisons, going poison free and pesticide free. And then after that, we met with some city folks, and Linda and I and a couple of others presented to the Sustainability Commission. We did that on Earth Day, April the 22nd. And at that meeting, it was determined that there would be an ad hoc committee with Sustainability Commission to work on what we're advocating for, which is poison-free Palm Springs. So do you want to do the first slide?
Sure. Okay, so what are the effects of poisons on our wildlife? Over the last 50 years, the World Wildlife Fund studies have shown that there is a catastrophic 73% decrease in global wildlife populations. So we've lost quite a bit of our wildlife. in just since, I think this was 1975. 600 million birds die each year from poisoning. 88% of our raptors that are tested have poison in their systems. And 83% of coyotes tested have toxic poisoning. You can see that the coyote there in the picture, he has a severe case of mange. And we see that all over the Coachella Valley here. This is from coyotes catching a rodent that has been poisoned by bait boxes, rodenticides. So mange is on the rise in coyotes and bobcats. And as you can see, he's severely hurt. He's got his skin, his fur is gone, he's itching. He cannot hunt or avoid predators in this shape. And this is happening to our raptors too, especially our owls. We're getting a lot of calls right now about owls. And they're being poisoned by catching the mice or rats and eating them. And as you probably know from bait boxes, rodents go in, they get the poison, they come out, they don't die immediately. And then they are hunted by other animals, other wildlife. This is our toxic food web, and it's a great graphic to show you just what happens from the bait box up through all of a series of wildlife. You can see over on the right-hand side there is our companion animals. They get into it too, cats and dogs. And then the reptiles, the songbirds, up to our raptors, coyotes, and mountain lions. So it has a huge impact on our wildlife.
And unfortunately, our wildlife director could not be here. He texted us. He wanted to be here, Micah Curtis, but he is dealing with injured wildlife out at the Wildlife Center in India. But he wanted us to read this. Poison doesn't discriminate. Poisons can easily make their way into the food chain and negatively impact multiple species at once, not just the pest, in quotes, you're trying to get rid of. These toxins attack the organs and circulatory system and can easily and quickly cause severe internal damage. It is very challenging to treat wild animals once they've been poisoned, and ultimately, they tend to suffer from an extremely uncomfortable death. By working with nature and using natural remedies and humane practices, we can naturally control pest populations by keeping our wild neighbors healthy and happy. Again, this is from Micah Curtis, and I'd love to have you all meet him at some point. He's amazing. He came to us from Project Wildlife with the San Diego Humane Society. It's a very big wildlife rehabilitation center, and we're very lucky to have him. And if you want to talk a little bit about this.
Yes, okay. So it's not only wildlife that's hurt by the pesticides and poisons. Children who are rolling around in the grass, and our companion animals rolling around in the grass, maybe eating grass. You know, they're very close, they're much closer to the ground than we are as adults. And then it's really damaging to our landscapers and our gardeners and agricultural workers. So really, it just affects our entire ecosystem.
And why are they used? So oftentimes poisons and pesticides are deployed because of things we humans do. So we create some messes, and then those messes attract wildlife, and then we use poisons and pesticides and worse, things to get rid of these animals. And there's a better way to do it. And we'll get into how we can make our properties rodent resistant. But really, it's the lack of knowledge that so many of us have. I know I did not know a lot of this until I was involved with the Wildlife Center, and shame on me, but I think that's the case with a lot of people. We just simply don't know. And the way that so many of the pesticide companies and also the pest management companies deal with rodent issues. Really just goes to what is the easiest way, not the most humane way, which is poisons and pesticides and glue traps, which are horrible too.
Yes, we really have been kind of brainwashed about rodents and thinking how awful they are. But they have a big role in our desert ecosystem. They rodents prey on unwanted insects. And they sustain our carnivore biodiversity by feeding other animals. And they're seed dispensers. And they aerate and move the soil, they create burrows and prevent soil erosion, and these burrows are also used by other animals. So they have a really important impact in our ecosystem.
So then there's solutions that other cities have actually embraced. Adopting an earth-friendly management program, which is a wraparound policy that includes restricting pesticides and doing whatever they can do to prevent the rodents and even, you know, think about it, sometimes it's ravens that are getting into our dumpsters. It's not just the rodents, it's a lot of birds. It could be raccoons, it could be skunks and possums. So in using guarantees the safe use of city buildings, structures, parks, and other recreation areas, and addresses issues critical to sustainability, clean air, water, while protecting wildlife, pets, and children. And we do have, we'll talk about it in just a minute here, and we have some additional resources that I'll give to you and you can share as you like, and I can send you the link to other cities and municipalities, counties that are really, really leading the way. And it makes me mad when other cities are leading the way because I'm a Palm Springs resident and I want us to be the leader in just about everything. And I know we can be.
So other solutions for the city is an integrated pest management policy. And this can effectively and environmentally, it's an approach to pest management that relies, we'll talk a little bit more about some of the ways to do it, but common sense practices. One of them is this, what we have up here is low hanging fruit is the dumpster ordinance. And we really would like to strengthen that, because that is one of the big keys to being able to control your rodents.
And I did a drive around over the weekend, just looking at dumpsters in Palm Springs, some on city property and you know, and a lot that are in commercial properties. And if there is a lid ordinance, I know I've read that the lids are supposed to be shut. So few are. This is low hanging fruit. There's probably fruit in those dumpsters too. So yeah, this is a big one. There's just an example of an overflowing dump. This isn't one that I saw. This is one that was there. But I saw something almost as awful as that one. So what the city of Palm Springs does have is an environmentally preferable purchasing policy. Say that like 6 times fast. So we, when we spoke with the Sustainability Commission, we thought this would be a great way to work with the city on what we're trying to do, which is reduce the number of patients coming to us from rodenticide and poison illnesses. So just through the policy that already exists, it's not an ordinance, it's just a purchasing policy. We think that there is a lot of room for improvement, because sometimes you have policies and they're not necessarily, they're followed, but maybe not as robustly as they could be. So we'd love to help with the city and work on that to do whatever we can through purchasing. And these are solutions for everyone. So not just the city, but all of us here in the room tonight, all of our neighbors, our friends, our families, our colleagues can do these things right now and help us reduce the number of patients we see on a daily basis. And they're not hard, and Linda knows these so well because she advises people how many times a day. on
Oh,
what to
yeah,
do.
a lot, because people always wanna, call a pest control company. And the pest control companies always wanna use poisons and rodenticides, so, it's called Red. That's the initials there, so repel, exclude, and deter. So you can repel using natural, substances, natural repellents like peppermint oil, other essential oils, lavender, mint, cinnamon, cayenne pepper. I've used these at my house too, and they do work. And then the exclusion, which is going around and making sure everything, all the holes are patched and there's no way for rodents to get in your house. Because they're really okay outside, right? That's where they live, they're part of our ecosystem. But we just don't want them in our house. And then the deter part is eliminating all the sources of food around your house or in your parks. Eliminating nesting spots for them, standing water, anything you can do, and then putting in owl boxes. So that you have a natural repellent for the rodents.
And Linda went through this firsthand, she hired somebody to do this at her house, and she, you know, when they get there, they really don't know how to do this. And so
No.
we've learned a lot about it, and we realized if someone wants to start a business in the Coachella Valley, this kind of humane pest management solution would be a big one.
It was a,
I would
yes,
hire them for several
Yes.
projects.
you can get people to exclude, but you can't get people, the pest control companies want to use poison after they have excluded or they have fixed your home and sealed all the entrances, but then they want to use the poison and they don't need to really. There's other methods.
And, you know, this could be our future, when I say our, I mean the city of Palm Springs, working with the Desert Wildlife Center and with other organizations that are really supportive of having a poison-free community. And we envision signs everywhere in our parks and public spaces to say that we are poison-free, so feel free to sit on the grass and, you know, have your pets on the grass and kids. Grandparents, here's some examples of some cities that are absolutely leading the way. Again, I mentioned Poison Free Malibu. They are amazing, and they've worked with the city of Malibu. That's come a really long way. Ojai, Boris Hills, and there's a group, Cities Against Rat Poison. Just this quote, it goes back to Rachel Carson. I was not even alive when I was almost alive, but I wasn't alive in 1962. But for this long, we've been talking about this issue, and future historians may well be amazed by our distorted sense of proportion. How could intelligent beings seek to control a few unwanted species by a method that contaminated the entire environment and brought the threat of disease and death even to their own kind? Yet this is precisely what we have done. And again, Rachel Carson, Silent Spring, 1962. And we would be remiss if we did not bring up another topic. And since we have your attention here, we'll make it brief. But there's more that the parks can do with all those spaces, and that's around tree trimming. So birds nest in the Coachella Valley from February until September. And during that nesting season, our trees and our shrubs and our hedges are just peppered throughout. You don't see them all the time with active nests. So it has traditionally been the time, generally people start in April, May, June to trim all these trees and hedges, and using you know, pretty tough tools and machetes and chainsaws. And we see a lot of the collateral damage from that practice, and we've learned about it as we launched our helpline right in the spring.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many calls we've had in the last few months of birds that have been their wings have been clipped by clippers. Nests have been destroyed because they took down all the limbs. So baby birds displaced. It's really I didn't realize the extent of it either until I started answering the helpline, and it's a really serious problem.
And again, it's something that I think if people know better, they can do better. I didn't know when I first moved here and I have palm trees.
People don't
And it
know.
was like the whole neighborhood that I lived in, and we all trimmed our palm trees in June, and I don't do that anymore. So I think that that is a huge opportunity, again, some low hanging fruit that we can work on together to do better. And really, that's it for us. We just want to work with the city. We want to investigate to understand more about what our city is actually doing currently and where we can improve. We want to educate our community in partnership with the city. We want to motivate people to do the right thing for wildlife and for themselves. And we want to validate success. For example, if there is movement towards having lids on dumpsters, we want to have enforcement with that, not just like, hey, everybody put a lid on a dumpster. So you need follow-up. We've learned that at the animal shelter with so many different issues. You do need follow-up when there's any kind of ordinance in place. That is it for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. Can I ask a couple of questions?
Yeah,
Make
make them easy.
the dumpster ordinance that you're talking about is for dumpsters only that are on city land, right? Like not an HOA dumpster or that kind of thing.
Well, cities can put ordinances in place. The city of Palm Springs on city property could do that immediately. It's my understanding, but then an ordinance around the requirement for closed lids and even locked lids, because what happens, especially on commercial properties, is if there's not a lock after someone puts something in it, it's left open, and then, you know, people come and take things and put more things in.
I mean, that's definitely already in place.
There's something about, it's definitely in place that.
I mean, we've been charged for it, so I know there is some
Yeah.
rule about it.
So if, this is what I thought too, that it's in place, but yet there's not. So you were charged, a lot of people are not, so we don't have the solution specifically for the enforcement, that's not our lane. But we would like to see that happen and have more support for that, whether that's resources. And we know, again, working with animal control, which is our partner for the shelter, resources are scarce and it's hard sometimes to have folks patrol all of this, but it does make a difference.
And do you have any like statistics around, okay, if I'm not gonna use a poison and I decide to use something that's not a poison, how effective is it? So just for example, I have a house in Idlewild. I recently had mice. I had a person come out, they sealed all the entry points. We did not use poison.
Thank you.
They were these balls, they smelled terrible. But they were some combination of like cinnamon, cardamom, some kind of oil, whatever. And he threw them like under my house and then around my property. I would say for about a week, it was awful. But after the week went by, the smell kind of dissipated. But guess what? I didn't see any more mice or snakes. But I do still have the deer coming through my yard and coyotes and all that stuff.
Well, that's good that you have your coyote coming through your yard.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a good job. You really,
so I'd love to hear who that was, what company.
Renegade Pest Control in Palm Desert.
Okay, so
yeah,
that's what to know.
yes.
So
I hired a pest control people, they come once a month and I said I don't want poison in my house, and they said, we use non-toxic, are they lying to me?
The poisons,
I wanted
They-
non-toxic for my house.
I don't know what they're using, but most of them are still toxic, even if they're not using a first or second generation anticoagulant.
those are the two.
Those are the two that are
If they're
banned,
non-toxic, it's possible they are still toxic.
yes.
I think they mean non-toxic to you. Is that what they meant?
To my pets.
To you and your
me,
pets.
To my house, I don't wanna poison anyone.
And did they ask you to keep your pets in for a
It's
certain
not
amount of time?
necessary for them to stay inside.
Yeah,
So I don't know, I'll check it out then.
yeah, ask them what they're using, they have to, they're supposed to tell you, you know, what the
Yeah.
ingredients are.
Thank you.
And we're big advocates for nature doing its thing too, so. It would be wonderful to see, owl boxes around town in specific locations. Because those are the natural predators and we've done so much to remove those natural predators. From our ecosystems, our desert ecosystems, and, you know, I'm a California naturalist, I love this kind of stuff, and. I do see, you know, I'm such a nerd when I'm on my hikes and when I'm out and about and. You know, we need to have a better balance and whatever we humans can do to help that with these owl boxes and perches for raptors, you know, even, you know, cats actually, I keep my cats inside. We have a catio, but just the presence of a cat is good for rodent control. So, yeah. And we do have someone we'd love to do a presentation, we'll bring her out, this is her field, or we should have her zoom in. She trains other organizations on other companies on how to do, humane pest management. But she's, Central Coast, not.
Desert Wildlife Center, is that still at Valley Sand? Or you moved
Is it what?
Is the Desert Wildlife Center, is that the new name for what the bird sanctuary was? at Valley
So yes, Linda York retired a couple of years ago and that property was vacant and we put in, there was an RFP and we put in our proposal. At the time, our name was Friends of Palm Springs Animal Shelter, again, we're Greater Palm Springs Animal Allies, and we were awarded the contract from Valley Sanitary District, which is MDO's wastewater treatment. So we're leasing those 7 acres and the facility. We did have to completely remodel the facility to get it up to code for California Fish and Wildlife to permit us to be able to accept birds, small mammals and reptiles. So currently we're taking the birds that we will expand to small mammals and reptiles. And then the larger mammals, like we saw in the presentation, like for example, a coyote that's very ill or has been hit by a car, we would work with partners, probably Project Wildlife. We're getting to learn and know all of the Southern California and even Northern California wildlife centers because there's so very few of us. There's so few. It's amazing how little is being done for wildlife. So yes, we are open and ready to take patients.
So what are the hours open to the public?
So it's not a just come in and wander around kind of thing, but we.
You need to, if you have an injured animal, you need to call our helpline.
Okay.
And we will make an appointment for you to
Okay.
come bring the animal in.
You can't just take some bird you found over there without calling me first?
You did?
No, I said you can't just do that.
Well, we want to make sure that the bird should come in and
Yes.
make sure it's injured, because sometimes it's a fledgling. And it's just learning to fly and people think it's injured, but it's not really, and we wanna try and keep those animals out in the wild when we can.
Okay, so that's why we have the helpline, so that folks call the helpline first and that we can ascertain, you know, the situation. We ask people to send us video. For example, yesterday, my friend over at Animal Samaritans was shopping at Albertsons and he sent me a photo of a barn owl that, you know, turned out to be okay, but, you know, I had to see the video and, you know, and know that the bird is okay. It would have been tragic if we tracked that bird, took it in for no reason, and then
Yes,
that's tragic. It would
Yeah.
have been okay. It would have survived.
there's a lot of bird napping going on, and that doesn't need to happen, right? Yeah, so we wanna try and keep them in the wild as much as we can.
And I also wanted just to mention, we just wrapped up 3 weeks of animal camp at the Palm Springs Shelter. We covered 1 day is cats, 1 day is dogs, the other day is wildlife, and then the last day is farm animals. And Wildlife Day is really fun. I planned that, and I just brought one of these along in case anyone has youngsters. We have an extra coloring book, so I'll let you figure out. They're really cool coloring books. I can get more.
Anybody else have anything for them?
Just devil's advocate, since we don't have as many predators as we've had before, and the biggest issue is, you know, passing on this poison to our companion pets and to some of the bigger predators and stuff. Would it be better to use stronger poison if we were going to use poison? and just get rid of the rats so it doesn't pass on to.
We need those rats in our ecosystem. Because of the things that we talked about, they feed all the other animals, they feed a lot of the other animals, they do a lot of good. So, we just wanna keep them out of our house, right? So that's the biggest issue is doing the exclusion and then letting them live and, you know, be animals too. Cause you know, we are really brainwashed, we think they're really awful, but they're just another wildlife. They're just another animal out there.
I don't believe that Palm Springs puts poison on the grass and park.
We do not.
That's post fish.
We do not.
Okay, maybe that's what I. I roll one.
It definitely, if you read the purchasing policy, no Roundup is allowed to be used.
He's correct.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us. I know we took up a lot of time. If you do see an injured wildlife, bird, any species, please call us, yes.
Slow too, slow.
Squirrels, bunnies, anything. And injured animals, or pets too, of course, that's a different line, that's the shelter.
Thank you.
First action item. I'm assuming Chair Armstrong is going to do this action item presentation for us.
Presentations being nice.
Okay.
Hello, welcome to the new term. Hopefully this one will be just as productive as the last one. I'm going to bring you up to date on a couple things that we've been dealing with. And I really don't think there's anything new here. I've presented nearly everything to you guys before. But we're gonna focus on lawn chair, second cubes, memorial plaques, and Artscape Beautiful Shade update. So go to the next slide.
Just introduce this one.
Oh, sorry, Bill. I thought John did.
Well, I know who you are.
Okay, sorry, Gary Armstrong, Chair of the Public Arts Commission. And yes, I know John, I know Nick, I know Jace, I know Jody and John and I met my first 30 minutes of the commission. Okay, next slide. I presented this slide at the Measure J meeting last week that I was at. And I think it's important for people to realize the process that the Art Commission goes through. And this was a project for one specific initiative, and this was the Artscape in the Parks. The Artscape in the Parks started when I was presenting something else at council on May 25th, 2023. And two of the council members said, well, why don't you do stuff in city parks? Because we were trying to get some art in the downtown park. And they said, do stuff in city parks. And I said, well, we can, we just need money and people to do it and install it. And they said, whatever you need to do, just get it done. We want art in every city park. So that was May 25th. Jump ahead, discussed it at the Public Arts Commission meeting, September 23rd, reviewed it, went back and forth. How did we do it? We approved a budget by the Public Arts Commission on February 2024. It then went to council for them to approve. Now, the way we have to work is when we're doing art, we don't know what the art's going to look like. We don't know who the artist is. So we write up almost like a vision statement of here's what we want to do, here's where it's going to be, and here's what it will cost to do that. At that time, we had the parks told us what we were going to do. It was going to be the Victoria Park and Desert Highland Park. Those are the two they told us to focus on. And so that was approved by council February 29, 2024. We then did an open call for artists. The artists and the designs were approved in September 24. We also then approved for two more parks, which were Gateway Park, who come to us asking for something, and then for Baristo Park, when they came to us, and they came to you as well at that same time period, saying, we want public art here, we want to bring this park together. So that was then September 2024. The funds were then approved at the subsequent meeting by the Public Arts Commission because we had to shift some funds around. So we approved the designs. We always have to then find out from the artists if they accept the commission. And then we approve the money. And then it eventually goes to council where they're filing approval on designs, funds, and locations. Now, in that time period,
a year and a half. I think I probably came to the Parks Commission discussing it with you guys probably 2 to 3 times. I know John has been very kind and has written letters to council every time one of the art projects that is going in a park goes in front of council. He would write a statement of support. So that's, we're up to council approving November 21, 2024. Contracts went to the artist in January 2025. The artists all met their delivery date of May 19th, 2025. In that time period, we had a perfect storm of funding problems where we had some money taken away from us from some developers. We had council saying we need you to put twice as much money as you approved towards the AIDS Memorial going in the downtown park. And then we were also hit with the fact that the price to do installations basically tripled. So to do a cement pad used to be around $3,000 to $5,000. Now all of a sudden, every one of the cement pads costs $45,000. So, and that is just for a 6-foot pad, $45,000. John Brickley knows this because he was getting something priced up and it's like, holy cow, that's a lot of money. It's like, that's what the price is. And that's for a very small pad. So that's why I went to Measure J. Measure J then approved the funding. So that's what it is. But it's just, I think it's important for everybody to realize this really is 3 budget cycles right here. And this is over the course of a year and a half. And that's just for one specific project. So in that time period, yes, things change. Council shifts. They have different stuff. The art commission shifts, the Parks Commission shifts, but the project is still moving along. So as I said, everything that I'm going to be discussing, I know I've discussed at one point or another with the Parks Commission. Some were in general concept and the others now we're getting more specific. So that's why it takes a long time to come back with the specifics. If you go to the next slide. Lawn chair. Lawn chair used to be in front of the Skylark Hotel. This is public art. It was very, very popular. It was designed for people to get on and take their photo in front of it, which is why you see it right here in the Skylark Hotel. You can see palm trees and mountains behind it. If you recall, back in May of 2023, I think 2024 actually, this was intended to go on Lot G. And I came to you saying, we're going to do this pop art park in Lot G. It was going to have popsicles at that point, lawn chair and pinwheel. That's what I presented at that point. 18 months after that, it was determined that, oh, we can't put any art on that lot because it's unstable. And actually, we need to move all the boulders from that area because they could collapse. So,
Lot G?
I'm sorry.
Where is G?
Lot G is downtown. It is between the downtown park and where the parking garage is. It's that little plot of land there. Actually, you asked it at the last meeting when I spoke about it. So we had to find a new location for it, and we were sort of it's magic. We're sort of going around, and if you could go to the next slide. The Assistant City Manager Flynn, who actually was the one who did all the staff reports for the downtown park, said, "Why don't you put it in the downtown park where Maryland was originally supposed to go?" So you can see here where the red X is, and this is the same map that John used. I'm surprised to find out. And it says there that this is basically an art that they intended when this was approved to put public art there. So you can see that was the name of it when they did the final plan. So we said, well, we can put it there, and Flynn said, you know, it's highly supported there. It will not collapse. If we went to where the other side of Museum Way, we cannot put any more art because of weight issues, and we can't put anything on Lot G because of weight issues. So we looked at other places in other city parks to evaluate, and we felt that this was intended to be used, and we thought this artwork would also appeal to the people that are downtown from Maryland. It's sort of big and fun and engaging, and if you just go back one side there. So we think it'll be the sort of thing that people will hop up on and take their picture, and they'll get the mountains and the palm trees behind it. It'll be a great thing for Palm Springs.
It's not in the middle where Maryland used to be.
No. We were offered to put something there, and I thought, I'm not crazy not to do that.
No, but Maryland is where Maryland is. Was there a?
Maryland's where she is. It's not moving.
No, but was there another place she was supposed to be when they moved her?
Yes,
Oh,
where the red X is. When the park was originally designed, she was intended to be where the red X is. And you can see that if you go there, the trees sort of create a round opening there. So that's the location. And it's called the Future Arts Plaza, right there. Okay. And that's why they suggested putting lawn chair there. Okay. This has already been approved by the commission, so it's in front of you guys, and then it goes to council in their September meeting. Intersecting cubes have been downtown probably about 10 years. The minute I got on the commission 4 years ago, we tried to find another spot for them. Because they were put there when they were trying to brand the Uptown Design District. And they're a really great piece, however. Public Works did not communicate with the Public Arts Commission. And there's two massive Palo Verde trees in front of them. You don't even know they're there. And this photo is probably 6 years old, but the Palo Verde tree is just completely overwhelming. And so we thought, well, let's put those in Sunrise Park. And I'll explain why if you could go to the next one. So this was a map that John Grigley had given us probably 4 months ago, 5 months ago. Yeah. And this was where he determined areas in Sunrise Park we should keep art away from. The areas in ready. So that's where the areas are high activity. And this is where he said, this is for when we were doing Beautiful Shade, I believe. And he said, no, maybe this area, but stay away from the areas in red. So we chose the spot. We could go to the next. There. So if you see A is where the existing public art piece is. It's the big one that is, you can see on Sunrise. You know, and it's the library's in the upper north corner. And then B is where the baseball player is, right by the stadium. We had chosen earlier, whenever I was here at the last meeting, C is where Beautiful Shade is going. And then we thought, well, let's put D where intersecting cubes could go. And then we create this nice art walk leading all the way through along the pathway there. A is visible from that. D and C will be visible from Sunrise as well. So you'd be creating, as people driving, they will see there's something happening here. And really, our intent is to join where the My South Center and the Boys and Girls Club is all the way to the leisure center and the pool eventually. Just that pathway, but arc along the way. Not one after another, but enough space so that they can breathe. So that's why it's intersecting cubes for good. Lastly, the memorial plaques. I know I spoke about this one back 3 directors ago. So it's been a while. These were plaques that were put in place during the 2002 Pride events, when Pride used to be held in Sunrise Park. Used to be held in the stadium. These were put in place. Morris Kite is essentially the father of Pride, Gay Pride. He created the very first Gay Pride event in San Francisco. And so this was a place there. And then they also did a plaque for the gay veterans, gay lesbian veterans. And this is so old, it doesn't even say LGBTQ, it just says LGBT veterans. So the Q is in there now. And those were there and no one really knew they were there. Everybody just sort of forgot about them. There's a tree with them and the tree is mismanaged. It's not been trimmed, it's bent over. And then we were contacted and said, can you please do something to make these, give them the attention they deserve? In that time, we then had the Pride Monument come in, which you guys are aware of, and that is going in Francis Stevens Park. And decision was made, let's put these near the Pride Monument, but we don't want them to go right near the Pride Monument because Pride Monument is so big and overwhelming. And these are a lot more contemplative and a little more emotional. So if you can go to the next slide. So right there, on the first one, you can see Francis Stevens Park. A is where the Pride Monument's going to be, in the bottom corner. Okay. We would like to install them at B, which is this corner right up here. So the significance of that corner is when there's a Veterans Day parade, people will be able to see this veterans flags and they'll be able to stop there. It's also with the Pride Monument, but not right near it to overpower it. And one of the, I assume you guys all follow what the Economic Development Department is doing. One of their key pillars for growing economic development in the city is gay and lesbian tourism. It's one of the 4 pillars. And so the feeling is by putting these downtown where we need the increased foot traffic, where we need to increase TOT, this will be a great place as opposed to hiding them in Sunrise Park. And again, it makes sense because we no longer host Pride in Sunrise Park. It's a big downtown event. Yeah. So we'll, this will go in front of the what do you call it? Preservation. They control the park. That part. So yeah. This will go in front of them. But this is city property. The plaques are city property. So it's not like an outside group is saying, we want to put them here. The mayor's behind this, moving them to this location, and the city is funding it. Now, incidentally, these plaques and getting these plaques really triggered a big shift we did in the Public Arts Commission, which you might have heard of. It was in the, got some media coverage. And the commission really struggled with approving these into the commission, into the Public Arts collection. The way we are structured is our main job is maintaining the Public Arts collection, which is physical collection. It's maintaining, adding, and maintenance and installation of the collection. And we do that on behalf of City Council. City Council is technically the only one that can accept things into the collection. And there's some items in the collection that just aren't art. They're in the collection, they deserve the maintenance, but they're not art. So when these two plaques came in front of us, thought, you know what, they're important, but they're really not art, they're more cultural artifacts. Let's divide the collection. Let's rename certain pieces in the collection. And so we're going to be doing that moving forward. Doesn't mean that we're going to get rid of any pieces. They're just going to have a different designation and they're going to have a different approval process going into the collection itself. They're pieces like we have the section 14 marker. No one even knows where that is, but it is a piece of art in the Public Arts collection. And it is really just a piece of granite with a plaque on it. It's not art by the traditional sense, but it's important to the city of Palm Springs. We have the John F. Kennedy Memorial bust at the airport. It was done after he was assassinated. He came to Palm Springs 4 times. I believe he even stayed overnight in the Maryland House. But that's not art. That is commemorative. So we're going to be making that determination. And a lot of these will be affected by things that are in the parks as well. There are some pieces in the parks that really aren't art that are still under our jurisdiction. Okay. So, lastly, Artscape in the Parks, as you might have heard, we are getting money from Measure J to do the installation of these. All of these pieces are done. They are in storage. Thank you, John Brickley, for dealing with that. And the minute the money is triggered for release by council in September, these will be installed. And hopefully we'll get them installed in October, because October is National Arts and Humanities Month, and then we can do a nice proclamation and celebration and dedication ceremony. I will invite everybody here to the dedication ceremony, and the Commission of Measure J wants to be invited to the dedication ceremony as well. So, are there any questions for me? No, nothing?
For Artscape, maintenance, is that also something that the Arts Commission manages with these pieces?
Yeah. It's. So, yeah, no, we do all the maintenance. That's all factored into our budget, which is why if you heard from our meetings, I'm always very particular when somebody says, oh, we're giving a gift to the city as part of your collection, but we want you to pay X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, we're already paying for your maintenance because it's going to be with us for the rest of time.
Mm-hmm.
So that's our, involvement.
I appreciate you covering the budget with your presentation, because sometimes, when things come across, at least for me,
Yeah.
that's me and more thoughts like, oh, who's going to be covering me?
Yeah.
Like, where's this coming from? So,
And we cannot use art commission funds for things that are not part of the collection. So we can't do maintenance on pieces that are not legally and technically part of the collection. It's just this weird tax thing.
is the water feature part of the arts collection?
It is.
Is it any possibility that have it like repainted brighter, so it's bright again, because you're gonna put this, there's gonna be a beautiful, Pride Memorial there, and it's gonna look.
It was repaired probably 2 years ago.
It just, I'm talking about the green, red, and yellow.
Yeah.
It needs a nice, it's right there, art story.
We can't change the color without the
Can
artist.
you just repaint it brighter again?
Oh, well, as I said, we painted it probably 2 years ago, and within it's not fading. They use automotive paint, so it doesn't fade. It's just the water and sediment. And so the city pays about $65,000 a year for maintenance for that. So, and there was discussion at one point about decommissioning it. That was probably about 10 years ago. Occasionally bubbles up again, but I've got bigger battles.
So the veterans plaque that's going into Francis Stevens Park, is that for LGBTQ that people who were killed in service, or are those just LGBTQ people who've served?
It's for veterans, it's not a memorial plaque.
Okay.
It does not mean that there may not be future plaques. And I think my gut is what will happen is once we put these in place and they're more visible, there may be additional plaques come into play. As I said, we're just taking these two that are already part of the city's collection. Any other questions, Jones?
I don't have any questions.
Okay. Lastly, I would encourage everyone here to come to an Arts Commission meeting. We discuss stuff in parks at least every meeting. John comes to them and he hears us discuss the stuff. And there's back and forth and, you know, I'll be texting with John, we're saying, hey, what about, blah, 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 blah. But, please come. We meet the first Thursday of every month. And what we're going to be doing is, we're gonna be sending a copy of our agenda to Nick and he can disseminate it as appropriate. But, you know, we're really a collaborative commission. As I said, I've done work with Measure J, Parks, Human Rights Commission, Sustainability Commission, and we're doing stuff with the library. Oh, that's one other thing I can tell you about. That art walk component, we were approached by the library. They have some art in there that is going to be in storage for 3 years. And they said, can you put it on display somewhere else for 3 years? So there may be something coming to go on that art walk in September.
They can move the dog there.
The dog will be moving, Mr. Brickley, when?
So we're gonna have that during the construction period of the library, so.
Okay, yeah. So the dog will be, they have some pieces inside that are outdoor pieces, beautiful metal pieces. And the way the commission works is pieces can be donated to the collection with a special designation. So we have something like, this is donated to the city to be with the library. So we can't move it too far from the library. We have to do this is donated to the city or the airport. That's it.
Thank you.
Hopefully we'll see you at the next art commission meeting in September. Thanks, guys.
Are we doing a vote for something here? Yeah.
Yeah, we just want you to vote it to, in support of the placement of these items in the park.
Do we need to make a motion or anything first? I'll make the motion to approve the outlet pieces.
Okay. We'll vote Commissioner, Chair Morelli,
Yes.
Commissioner Admire,
Yes.
Commissioner Diaz,
Yes.
Commissioner Ferguson.
Yes.
Commissioner Fine.
Yes.
Commissioner Finland,
Yes.
Commissioner Nagaya,
Yes.
Commissioner Phillips,
Yes.
Commissioner Roddy.
Sure.
Thanks, guys. Oh, you're August, and I'll see you in September.
Nick, should I tell them about what's coming up with the ad hoc?
You
Kind
can,
of,
yeah,
right.
you can bring that up now.
So because of this and because arts has largely been sometimes overlooked when it comes to putting art in parks, we want to form a new ad hoc that includes members of this commission, members of the Arts Commission. It'll include their staff liaison, who is Jay, and it'll include me. So that we get involved earlier in the process, because we're gonna hear from the community, like, why the hell is there suddenly this thing in front of like the poop station that I used to use, Quarry Park or whatever, just an example. So that will come up at the end of the meeting when we go over ad hoc assignments. Just so everybody knows.
All right, we have a few more items. Sorry, we're dark in August, so we have a lot to get through. We'll start with item F. We want to go ahead from a staffing level, let's give you an update, kind of a quick year in review from this last fiscal year and talk about the upcoming fiscal year and the biennial budget. So we'll talk about this last fiscal year. I'll give you a brief synopsis. If you attended the joint boards and commission meeting, you saw most of this information already presented as part of Chair Morelli's presentation at that meeting. But we'll just give you some updates on kind of significant achievements. So, you know, I came and I was appointed in this role in December, and there was already so much work that has been done prior to my arrival, and so much that I'm really proud of the team and the department accomplishing since I've been here since December. So some significant achievements over this past fiscal year is the completion of the Parks and Recreation Master Plan, some renovation of some playgrounds at Victoria, Duluth, and Baristo Park. We held several community meetings with the dog park folks, with the swim center folks, and then pickleball ad hoc committee. There was renovation of the ball fields over at Duluth Park in partnership with Project Evergreen. We've increased hours of service here at the Duluth Community Center. We've established a new master swim team called the Palm Springs Swim Club. We've hired on marketing consultants, which I'll talk about in a little bit, made some social media enhancement, website enhancements, and we've been establishing a lot of policy framework for our department to help us move forward and do some enforcement in our facilities and parks. A big component and one thing that I heard coming into this role was just like hiring of staff. And we needed to make sure that we move that forward. So over this past year, we've hired a lot of staff. We've hired a project manager to focus on capital projects, of course, John Brickley. We've hired program assistants in youth programming, our Parks and Recreation manager here at the Duluth Community Center, park rangers that are housed here at Duluth and dispatched out all throughout the park system. Program assistants also here at Duluth Community Center, our assistant director of Parks and Recreation, Nisha, an administrative assistant that works under Riley at the Leisure Center, focusing on front counter operations and helping with our marketing efforts. The transfer of the park maintenance division, which are 11 key members that we transferred and moved from Public Works into Parks and Recreation. Hired several different lifeguards, as you've heard me say over the course of the several months over at the swim center. And then our most recent hire is on project manager, focusing on internal projects, working on our registration software, our work order system for the park maintenance team, and then other special projects for all the managers in the department. And what's to come is really over this past year is we've set up a lot of framework to help us build and lead projects as we move into this next year. If you've seen already, we've made some enhancements to our marketing and our social media efforts. We've hired a consultant to help us with that, help us with some digital engagements and really creating a framework of how we market and promote everything that we do throughout the departments. We will be expanding hours at the swim center, which will hopefully come in September. That'll allow us to go Monday through Thursday until 7 p.m. We close at 3 p.m., allowing additional access for our community members to enjoy the swim center. We'll be focusing a big part of implementing the master plan, which we'll get into in a little bit. A lot of capital projects, a lot of Measure J projects that we'll be working on. Over this next year, we'll be cleaning up a lot of our permitting system, the way that we do special event permitting, film permits, banner permits, our facility reservation permits, things like that. We'll continue a lot of policy writing as we have a lot of policies and things that we need to establish. We'll be working in conjunction with communication on website revamp and making sure our website is easy and friendly for people to find information about everything that we offer throughout the department. On the marketing side also is we're going to be looking at starting a recreation brochure. While we don't have funding to actually print out a brochure, we'll start it out digitally and hopefully very successfully be able to advocate for additional funding to actually print it. But that'll be something that we'll be able to have a robust listing of all of our programs, our classes, our special events well in advance for our community members or visitors to really plan out of everything that's going on throughout the department. We'll be embarking soon on an e-newsletter that we'll be sending out to all of our registered participants in our programs. Anybody else that wants to sign up for that to get monthly information about everything that we offer. We'll be partnering with sustainability and public works on tree plantings throughout our parks and other park cleanups as just similar to Blue Zones that we'll be partnering with them on some park cleanups. A big key effort, especially with our new project manager, will be focusing on gathering data. So we have enough data to be able to market, advocate, and share all the wonderful things that we do in our department, expand programs, and then also review our programs and make sure that we're staying up to date with the current trends and being able to serve the needs of our community. So that's kind of a quick update of what we've been up to over this past year. Now we'll transition into kind of the budget year update. And so here in the city of Palm Springs, we do a biennial budget that allows us to really forecast out what the next 2 fiscal years are going to look like. You've probably seen and heard throughout other members of the council about the council just being cautious about budgetary spending and making sure that we're not spending with it outside of our means, and we're really paying close attention to all of our expenses, all of our contractual services and our personnel to make sure that we have everything that we need to still continue the normal operations and the budget of our city, but then also being able to scale back if needed so that we make sure that we're aware of everything that's affecting our community. So I want to give you an update of what that looks like. And so in every budget cycle in late winter, early spring, the Department of Finance and Treasury releases the budget guidelines to all the departments. From there, we get a better idea and picture of what it's going to look like for this upcoming budget cycle. That then puts the pressure on department staff for us to look at all of our operating expenses, all of our contractual services, maintenance, equipment, and any personnel changes that we may think we may need over the next 2 years. Now, the budget is supposed to be a living document, and you've heard the council say that over and over again, is that, well, this is adopted, it gives us kind of a baseline, but things may happen throughout the year, right? And if we need additional resources or whatever we may need, we may have to go to council to request some additional funding. Planning for a 2-year budget cycle is challenging, especially when you have a lot of programs and special events that we operate. And things change and things come and go, and what we're seeing is high cost for everything that we do, but we've taken that into consideration. Also, as part of this is we review all of our capital improvement projects, working with engineering, public works, and city manager's office to make sure that we have an idea of everything that's coming up over the next couple of years. In spring, we worked with the finance department to submit our budget drafts and met with the budget committee, which is comprised of the city manager's office and the finance department, to review any changes, any requests. Well, we didn't really get a lot of requests because of budget limitations. It still allowed us to present kind of our ideas of where we wish to see in the near future if we were able to get some things. And then, as most of you are aware, on June 25th, the city council reviewed and adopted the biennial budget. A big component of this is making sure that we stay within the framework of what the city council's goals are. So earlier this year, the city council held separate retreats so that they really gathered what the strategic plan framework was going to be for the council over this budget's period. And the overarching principles is making sure that the council and city leadership and department heads are paying really close attention to sustainability and social equity. And there are broad goals that are comprised of that. So that being focusing on economic development, public safety and community services, infrastructure and facilities, and housing. And we fall into the first 3 of those and making sure that our community is thriving from all the special events that we're doing and developing the economy, making sure that our services to the community are really thought out and planned through our programs. And then, of course, the infrastructure and facilities of the network and framework of all of our parks and community centers are sustained and we have that all moving forward. And of course, making sure the foundation is focusing on financial and organizational well-being as we move into this next budget cycle. So I won't necessarily read all this to you all, but it is a good reminder of what really our mission is as the department. The main kind of key point here is we want to make sure that the department provides welcoming and safe spaces for everybody to participate in. No matter who you are, where you come from, you have a place to come into our parks and come into our facilities and participate in everything that we offer and do. And that is important, and that is sent all throughout all of our different programs, whether you're young at heart or need some little additional assistance, that we will be able to welcome you into our sites. And we want to make sure that we're staying innovative and creative in the way that we structure our programming, bring new events into town, and then also make sure that we're staying true to the city's motto of being like no place else. And so here are our main 6 goals that you'll see us really focus on over the next few years. And this is taken out of the master plan. First is we'll communicate the experience. This is a really big effort on marketing and promotion of everything that we do. We want to make sure that also we're connecting people and places so that they understand the Parks and Recreation system as it is today. We're connecting people through it, through our trails, our bike routes, our facilities, our parks, and everybody has a connection to all these wonderful places. We want to make sure we're partnering with sustainability to make sure we're paying attention to climate change and keeping it cool and climate resilience. We all know it is extremely hot here, and what can we do to help bring in some additional shading resources to help keep it a little bit cooler all throughout the system. We want to renew the system and making sure that we're paying attention to deferred maintenance projects, paying attention to other areas throughout our system that we can kind of revitalize it a little bit more. And we want to steward the future and be champions for everything that we do with enhancements to programming, making sure that we have policies, procedures in place, and also looking at our staffing models so that we make sure that we're staying relevant in everything that we do in the near future. And we want to expand the impact and creating new ideas, new programs that we can do to enhance the overall park and rec system. One thing that's new as part of the budget cycle is now we have performance measures that we're going to be evaluated on. And this is every department throughout the city. I won't necessarily go into all the details here, but pointing out some key things is we've taken our master plan goals, aligned them with the city council goals, and making sure that we're paying really close attention over the next 2 fiscal years of how we increase resources and keep track of everything that we're doing. Some items here to communicate the experience are increasing social media engagement, creating that seasonal activity guide, a monthly newsletter, on connecting people and places is increasing promotion of trails, keeping it cool and climate resilient is focusing on tree planting and park cleanups. Renewing the system is keeping updated with monthly park maintenance reports. On stewarding the future is focusing on activity and attendance reports that we will present to you all in the future. So you have an idea of how many people are coming to our facilities and attending our programs. And then also looking at our revenue and how we can increase revenue to drive some additional attention and some recovery of our costs to our programs. And then on the expanding the impact is we really want to keep track of everything that we're offering. We want to present to you all the amount of contract class programs that we offer. We want to increase participation in all of our youth programs and also keep track of how many people are coming into this site. So at every community center and every facility that we'll keep track of that moving forward. So you can see kind of an idea of how much big impact that we're getting through all of our different sites over the years to come. Pictured here, I know it's really small for you all to see, but this is our organizational chart as it is. So we have 54.75 FTEs, which are equates to about 62 headcounts within the departments. This is an increase from the previous fiscal year due to the park maintenance team coming over. That's 11 new positions. Additionally, with that additional increase of hours at the swim center, we were allotted 2.7 lifeguards that are new positions as part of the budget cycle that were added to us. We were only one of 3 departments that were added some additional personnel headcount as part of this budget process, which we're very thankful of, and the community is going to see a direct impact of the increased services over at the swim center. And again, you see this broken out through all the different divisions, as I mentioned earlier, the 7 different divisions and all the personnel and staff that are under each division manager. Now to the numbers. Pictured here on the screen, and I know this is small for you all to read, but here's our budget by each fiscal year. And so on the first column on the far left are the expenses descriptions. The column following that is our forecasted expenses from the previous fiscal year. We're still paying invoices from the previous fiscal year since it just closed, so it's not a full accurate count, it's just a forecasted count. And then what the next 2 budgeted fiscal years are going to look like. So you can see our forecasted year from fiscal year 24-25. It's roughly a total department budget of about 8.4 million. But you see that increase dramatically in fiscal year 25-26 to 11.6 million, and then 12 million in 26-27. Majority of that increase is about a $3 million budget in transfer from the park maintenance division from Public Works. So you'll see, we increase a lot, about 3 million, and Public Works decreases about 3 million. It's not necessarily a ton of new money coming through to the departments. It may look like that, but really behind the numbers, it's because of that division coming over to us. Now, one thing that I think is really important for everyone to really be aware of is when you hear me say $11.6 million, you may think, wow, that is a lot of money that the department has to play with. Majority of that is having to relate to personnel staffing requests that are assigned to operate the departments. And to a lot of internal services being fleet management, facility management, HR expenses, things of that nature that help to overall kind of operate the department. So when we look at direct program related expenses for the department in fiscal year 24-25, the previous year that we just closed out, it's roughly about 2.8 million. And then moving on to the current fiscal year that we're in is about 4.2, and then next year about another 4.2. A lot of that is to contractual services, really in the park maintenance division. It's about a $1.3 million contract to Mariposa for our landscaping and park maintenance all throughout the park system. So you can see it's really only about $3 million that go directly into services and programs that our team offers, which isn't a lot of money. But I want to give you that perspective because I want you to think of the impact that we truly have. Throughout all of our different sites, throughout our parks, throughout our special events, we do a lot with very little amount of budget that we actually have to program and deliver those services. So I think it's really good context for all of you to be aware of. Separately, as you can see the department breakdown by division. On the far left, this is how finance divides our different divisions. We have a recreation division, which really encompasses all of the administration team, everything that happens in the leisure center and youth programming, and everything that happens with special events. So roughly about $4.8 million is going directly to this division. A lot of it is personnel related expenses that help to put on all of these programs and run the behind the scenes features. And then you can see it broken down further and further. So we have a tennis and pickleball division, which really is to allow us to make some improvements to tennis and pickleball courts over the next couple of years. This is going over the next year. This is going to go to the maintenance and the renovation of the temporary pickleball courts over at Desert Community College District. And so you can see about $166,000. That's going directly to that. We have a separate line item and division for the skate park. We pay the skate park operator about $216,000 to run the operations of the skate park all year long. That goes to their staffing, their operations, and anything else that they need to operate that facility. There's about 1.4 million to the swim center. You'll see an increase here. That is because of the 2 additional lifeguards that we did receive as part of the personnel adjustments for the swim center. Demuth Community Center being here only has a budget about $543,000. That includes all the personnel out of here, including the park ranger division. So it's not a lot of money that it takes to run this facility. And on the flip side is you have James O'Jesse, which is about 1.2 million. Majority of that goes to the camp that we offer as part of summer over at James O'Jesse. So you'll see a huge increase in the amount of programming that you do there, which is very different from the way that we operate here at Duluth. Village Fest has about an $815,000 budget over the next couple of years. Most of that is due to contractual services, being that weekly market that we put on every Thursday evening. There are porta potties, security charges, all these other event and advertising charges that go into putting on that event. So a lot of that is really contractual services related to Village Fest. And then again, that input from park maintenance from Public Works, their budget is about 2.3 million that we've received, and really about 1.3 is dedicated to contracting and landscaping contractor, that really maintains all the daily operations of the park. So you're seeing really not a lot of really fun money to play with, but still a lot of what we're doing is being able to implement and provide a lot of these programs and services. And then here are different pie charts so that you can see the breakdown of the expenses of all the different divisions and where the funding goes to. Majority again going to the recreation division, which runs leisure center, youth programming, and special events. And then another big component is that park maintenance component in the department. Some other things to be aware of is we have a lot of capital projects that are going to be forthcoming in the next couple of years. As John mentioned earlier, we're embarking on the swim center and lifeguard office and the locker room upgrades. We're taking about $7 million from the library bond to help us to move forward and redesign and re-renovate that building, which will be really exciting for us to kind of get that going because there's been a lot of community feedback on that. The Demuth Park Pickleball Project, that is again another $6 million that we've allocated to that project. The Demuth Dog Parks, which is another several $1 million to renovate the large and the small dog parks here at Demuth. And then there's some other enhancements like the parking lot repaving and another restroom that'll come as part of that project. Some other items that we're also working on with Public Works is a Ruth Hardy Park restroom renovation. Public Works is still working on that and that'll be forthcoming soon. And then the Desert Highland Park playground equipment replacement, which is about $800,000 of new playground equipment that we'll be able to renovate over in that park. Some other items to be aware of as part of the community initiated projects funded through Measure J. There are several projects that affect our Parks and Rec system. The first one and a big project is the deferred maintenance project as part of the Palm Springs Stadium. That's about $841,000 that'll go to a lot of deferred maintenance with HVAC system, the dugouts, field maintenance over in that park that'll allow us to make sure we're sprucing up that facility and keeping up with that. We'll be working with the community or neighborhood organization for the Tuckwitz Creek Trail Master Plan implementation, which is roughly about $690,000 for that project. There's a workout permanent space at Ruth Hardy Park, which is about $547,000. Improvements at Barristo Park. This is just for planning and design that they've been allocated $537,000. Some access improvements to the parking lot over at James O'Jesse Desert Island Unity Center of $206,000. A public art mural that will be placed here at the front entrance at Demuth is roughly about $140,000. And then some tree installations that were apparently destroyed in a couple windstorms several years back at the Desert Arts Center. This is in Francis Stevens Park, and that's roughly about $30,000 that'll be added there. So a good chunk of money as part of Measure J, which is the purpose of Measure J, is going back into making some improvements in our park system, which is really great for our community to enjoy. You have a question?
Am I allowed to speak?
Sure.
Okay.
Give me a breath, so.
The Ruth Hardy Park workout permanent space, what is that?
You previously received an application from G-Force Workout. That is that workout permanent space. We're not tying it directly to G-Force as this will be an amenity in the park. And so G-Force will still have to come through us to get a permit, but then we'll be able also to rent that out and permit that out for other organizations if they wish to utilize it, or it's just an open amenity in the park.
It's at the wellness.
No, this is a Ruth
No.
Hardy Park.
And it's gonna be over there behind the school?
It's going to be, is it behind the school?
Yeah, it's near the
Near-
Near the volleyball court.
Yes.
And what's it gonna be, like a,
The intent of the project is to have rubberized surfacing so that it's a surface portion and then also a shaded area. That's gonna be the main thing that we look at as funding as part of that project. If there's additional funds, we may look at some other fitness equipment to add to that. But the main component is to make sure that we have the surfacing and then a structure over it. All right. All right, and then.
Can I say something, just so everybody here remembers this, but Measure J came to us and asked us for like, which one of these projects do you guys want to support? Everybody remember that? So most of those are that.
I don't remember the workout, like, those.
Yeah, he came like 2 or 3 times, I wanna say. But
Yeah.
who's the guy who runs the stadium? can't think of his name.
Andy
McCarthy. Yeah, so he also was here
I remember that.
and, so most of these are things that we said, we looked at, I don't remember how many there were, at least 24 probably. And we said, okay, these are the ones that are most important. We all kind of voted on it. And then I believe Riley took the results of that and came up with the top, whatever it was, right? Oh, John did that, okay.
Nick, I just wanted to make one comment. and
Sure.
Maybe one question. Perfect job in terms of all the work that you put into this budget presentation. There's a lot of effort obviously that went into that. I don't want to commend you for that.
Thank you.
I did have one question on one element of the budget, which increased fourfold, and that's your advertising and marketing money. Can you tell us a little bit what that's gonna look like? Cause it, went from 22 to 99,000.
Correct. Majority of that is coming from this Village Fest division. We have about $65,000 that we've added to hire on a consultant to help us increase and promote Village Fest. They will be charged with promoting Village Fest as a destination for people to come out, which was the intent of Village Fest back in the day when it was created. It's people to start their weekend vacation out with Village Fest first, being on Thursday evenings, and then go on and do whatever else they wish to do throughout the weekend. So majority of that funding is being increased for that. There's some additional funding that's being allocated to digital marketing consultants on the recreation side, which we've already engaged with them now. We hired someone called the Desert Social Club. We partnered with them to come in and take over our social media accounts. So if you follow us on social media, you may have seen some increase in some different look of the way that we're creating and promoting our programs and services. And so about $15,000 goes to that. And then throughout the year, we're going to be looking at making some budget adjustments to allow for about an additional $50,000 or so to help us with graphic design of the recreational brochure that I was talking about. And so that'll allow us for a digital brochure to be created, focusing on either 3 times a year or 4 times a year on everything that we have upcoming, so people can be aware of what's coming on throughout the department. Okay, and so on the master plan implementation, so you have a handout at each of your seats. It looks like this. And so I'm not gonna run through the whole thing, but this takes everything from the master plan that outlines a lot of the goals and tasks that we will help to achieve as part of the master plan implementation. And so you'll see all of the 6 goals are outlined here in that yellow-orange highlights, and then sub goals and themes and tasks as part of that. And what we've done is we've allocated different tasks to be completed in each of the upcoming fiscal years, just so that you can see an overall overarching theme of what we plan to accomplish over the next 5 years or so. A lot of this is important to be included as part of the budget process, because as part of our kind of goals and overarching themes and program enhancements, we've taken what the master plan has outlined as these themes and these objectives for us, and have really built that into our program enhancements so that we can move that forward. And so you'll see kind of check marks of what we plan to and what we think we will accomplish over the next few years. Now, things change throughout the year. Again, a budget is a living document, and there may be things that we may think we're going to accomplish this upcoming year that we actually can't. The way that I see it moving forward is this next year or 2 is really going to be focused on creating kind of that baseline, making sure that we're focusing on data, focusing on marketing and promotion. So we have the tools and means to really educate our community of what we have going on. And then also put kind of ideas in place of what we are going to be achieving over the next few years. Now, if something is marked in fiscal year 2030, it doesn't mean that we'll start it then. It just means that when we hope to get that done. And so we may be starting on something in 2030 now in this fiscal year, but it's going to take us 5 years to actually accomplish that. And what we hope is that when we start talking about the ad hoc committees, that this is something that we can work with the master plan and park enhancements ad hoc committee to help make sure that we're keeping on task, that you're helping us advocate for everything that we're doing so that we can make sure we're implementing this master plan moving forward. Again, the budget document is a living document, but so is the master plan. Our hopes is to not let that master plan sit on the shelf, is to make sure that we're constantly looking and referring to it to ensure that we're keeping up to date with all the goals and that we're accomplishing that over the next few years. And you'll see that here over the next few pages and slides of everything that's outlined as goals and objectives in the master plan, or what we've kind of outlined in tasks that we hope to accomplish over the next few years. And that gives you a brief kind of overview of where we are with our budget, our capital projects, and the master plan implementation schedule. But I'm happy to answer any questions if you have them.
Just quickly, 3.2.3 says you want to expand programming to morning and evening in 27, but then 4.2.2, you're not adding lights to those facilities until 29. I feel like that's kind of backwards.
So the 3.2.3 would be looking at those sites that already have lighted areas. 4.2.2 is looking at sites that don't currently have lit courts or fields. And that's going to take a longer plan for us to look at, kind of the deferred maintenance plan. Think of items like Ruth Hardy Park with our tennis courts. Several of those courts currently don't have lit structures. And when looking at that, it's actually going to be a much larger project that we would do that's going to be multi-year, not something that we can implement right away. So that's a clear example of something that we may not accomplish until 29, but we'll start working on that now to put plans in place for the future. So thank you for calling that out.
I have a couple of things that I jotted down.
Sure.
Well, thank you for that, because I really need that. I really appreciate it. How do we keep the budget on our radars, like as the numbers change and like, is it a living document or is it something we can revisit often? Because and I think I mentioned earlier with Gary here, one of the things I struggle with is when things come across our desk or during a meeting is I'd like to know how much is left in the budget, how much is allocated towards it. And I think it would actually influence, you know, how it goes moving forward. So that was my first one. And then the second was, as far as like when we increase programs and we generate more revenue, how is that allocated?
So on the first question, we could bring back more information about the budget throughout the year. It could get really confusing for commissioners to see that because you're not living it day to day. And so our budget team is constantly moving money all throughout the department as POs are encumbered and released. And then prices may change for like field trips, right? We may think we only need $10,000 for buses, but this next year it's going to be $15,000 just because fuel has increased, right? And so we're constantly going to be moving budget throughout the year. It could be challenging for us to capture all of that for you, but we could find out with a better solution of how we give you all updates. Now, we will never bring something to you that we don't already have budget for, or without saying we need to go to council to request funding. And so that's something that I'm charged with, is I can't exceed my budget unless I get authority from the council to do so. And so I wouldn't be bringing something to you unless I know that we have the budgetary resources that help us to implement that.
Okay.
So that may be something that we need to talk through with you all a little bit more of what you're wanting to see, so that we can educate you a little bit more about that process.
Yeah, and I wouldn't want to create more work that, you know, whenever I open is the last thing I want to do, but it's more just like informative for me, even if it was something as small as, you know, this is an action item and this is how much is left in the budget, this is where it's coming, you know, something like, even, so you wouldn't even have to like put together a presentation, but just something like maybe per action item or, you know, just some thoughts. But it's really, I just want to be more mindful as a commissioner as we're approving things, just because I know there's some other things like deferred maintenance that we have to.
Sure. Yeah.
And then the last one was, how can we as commissioners help advocate for when it comes to budgeting, getting a bigger budget for things like deferred maintenance? Because as we noticed on our tour, there's there's definitely some.
Yeah, and so, you know, we're doing that as part of the broad budget process, and so, you know, every department head knows that I'm worried about the swim center, and I keep saying we need to do something about that facility. So one thing that keeps me up at night, there's many things that keep me up, and that's one big one. And so having conversations with other boards and commissioners or city council liaisons, other city leaders is helpful, so that you're helping to share everything that we're telling you from these commission meetings. It's helpful to share that out so that more words and more kind of ears listening on everything that's going on in the department is helpful. Going back to what I had mentioned earlier about council or commissioner expectations, we expect you all to do that, right? I mean, you're an extension of us, and so helping to advocate for everything that we need is really important. And so by doing so, we hope that in the future, it puts more kind of attention of like, oh, wait, we got to do something about that swim center, right? Or whatever the hot topic is.
Perfect.
You'll know you're doing the right thing when like you start to approach Scott Styles and he like turns around and walks the other way. I don't wanna talk to that guy again. Say that's for money or something.
So, so when we see something like in the park, or we just see something that's like in disrepair, we should be bringing that here to this commission, correct? And then you would then take it to city council if we felt that it was something that needed attention.
Depends on the level, right? I mean, most of the maintenance and repair, we may be able to handle it as a staff level as part of just general operations and maintenance through our department budget. If it's a bigger item, that would be something that we would have to have more conversations with the city manager and then ultimately city council if needed. And so when you do see things, please share that with us so that we can be aware. We may already be aware of it, but it's helpful to know what you're all seeing too, so that we can get high on.
So is there a reason that the downtown park palm trees have very heavy palm down skirts that I've gotten? Four people sending me pictures of it saying, what's going on? I said, I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, we can look at each palm tree specifically, but there's several different species of palm tree in that park, and the city has a really strict ordinance on
There's reasons that they have the skirts, and
Right.
some of them could be dangerous, so I've heard some that fall down and you're playing in the park and. But you know, they're very heavy through the park, and I just didn't know if there was a reason that they chose that particular. Cause it's not that old.
Yeah,
It's not like
right.
it grew over the last couple of years.
And a lot of it is tied to whatever species of palm tree it is. There's specific regulations as per the municipal code that tell staff when and what the length is of the tree skirt that needs to be cut and trimmed. John, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that's correct, right? Yeah.
So that it's maintained basically the way it needs to be. It's not that they're just overgrown and no one's taking care of it.
Correct. And recently, tree trimming did happen within the past month or so of all the city trees. And so every tree in the parks were assessed to make sure that they were trimmed appropriately.
That's on top of the skirt.
That's right, yeah.
Thank you.
The other thing you guys can do, I always read the agenda for the city council meetings, and if I see something on there that may not be Parks and Rec related, right? I'll send in a letter or maybe attend the meeting or whatever, like, remember, we're not just commissioners, right? We are citizens of this city. Right? So our voice matters. And I often will write in just John Brown. I won't say John Brown, your chair of Parks and Recreation.
We all know.
Yeah.
Our HOA, it's a little bit off topic, but our HOA is looking to purchase and plant more shade trees in our common grassy area. Are there particular shade trees that the city is recommending that the community start planting?
I'm not too sure about HOAs because the Parks Department does not get involved with HOAs as those are managed separately and really through the planning division. But as far as when we look at tree planting and other trees that we would plant throughout the park system, is we are working with sustainability on the type of tree that we would plant. And so sustainability is currently working on an updated tree ordinance. that would give guidelines on what types of trees and working with them on making sure we have the right type of tree for whatever area throughout the city. And so we're working on a potential tree planting in the dog park sometime in the fall. And we work with sustainability to pinpoint the type of tree that would best fit for that specific. And so we would do that really. Thanks.
Anybody else?
I just had one last question. You said 2.75 lifeguards. I just want to know who the 0.75 is.
It's
Very confusing.
it's 1.5, and so it's split into 2.75. So 2 3/4 time lifeguards. So they're part-time lifeguards.
I
Yeah.
thought there was not quite 3 lifeguards.
No, it's 2. I know it's
one full
it's
person.
confusing, but that's how we determine head count. It's based off of amount of hours of work.
I just thought that was 0.75.
Yeah. They're part-timers.
Got it.
Thanks for helping me clarify that. All right, thank you.
Oh, thanks for the presentation. How's everybody feeling? Do we need a 2-minute bathroom break? We're all good. Like just power through to the end.
Power up.
Okay, power through.
All right. Next item on your agenda is an updated general facility rules for the swim center. So as I mentioned previously, and what you've kind of seen over the past few months is we're bringing forth a lot of administrative policies for you all to be approving that gives us some enforcement in our sites. So here is our general facility rules at the swim center. It's mainly items that we are already doing, nothing too out of the norm here. But it's outlining everything that you can't do at the site. Things like lewd conduct, making sure that we're staying into the code of conduct, general facility rules about the type of attire that you wear when entering into the pool, stuff like that. And so all of that is outlined in here. And so we are looking for approval from the commission so that we can officially adopt this as an administrative policy for the department.
And currently there's no policy, right?
Currently, there's no policy. There are some set rules that have been in place, but nothing that's been formally adopted.
And once we approve these policies, are they fermented in cement or we can alter them if we have a POF?
Good question. Once you approve it, it goes into effect immediately. And mind you, this has already been vetted and approved by the city attorney's office. I should have started with that. But if things come up, like we may implement something and then actually think, well, that's a technicality, we may need to come back and amendment. We have the ability to do so, which is why you'll see at the last page, it'll have a date that the commission approves it. So if moving forward, if we made a new one in September, it'll have that latest date, so we know that we're working off of the latest policy. And so
If someone moves to approve it, can we then say what edits or anything, or do you want to do this now?
No, you could say that as part of your motion.
You're not looking for edits on this, are you?
I mean, if you have that, we
It's
can.
already vetted by the city attorney.
Yeah, I mean, but if you have
I make a
that,
motion to accept the Palm Springs Swim Center general facility rules as submitted.
Second.
Let's do. The vote. Chair Miralia,
Yep,
Commissioner Hatmeyer,
approved.
Commissioner Diaz,
Approved.
Commissioner Ferguson,
Approved.
Commissioner Fine, Commissioner Finley,
Approved.
Commissioner Nagaya,
Approved.
Commissioner Phillips,
Approved.
Commissioner Roddy.
You bet.
Motion approved.
all right, the other item at each of your seats is the community display policy. This is an admin policy to manage materials that are put on display at parks and recreation facilities. To give you an idea, these are making sure that staff have vetted and approved everything that is displayed that doesn't come from our department. So if they are partners or other organizations that want to promote a flyer or something in our facilities, that staff have the ability to say yes or no if it doesn't abide by us. and to also take down things that are on unauthorized posting. So we had a situation today in one of our parks where another organization put up a large banner. This would give us the ability to pull that down because it wasn't submitted as part of the process and make sure that it was vetted by staff prior to putting it up. The main reason for this is to ensure, because a lot of people think when it's posted at park and rec facilities, that the city is endorsing or in support of something. And so this makes sure that staff gets eyes on it prior to it being out in the public. And we'll also look for a motion.
I'll
for this as
motion
well.
to. Really slow policy.
Chair Morelia,
Yes.
Commissioner Adwin,
Approved.
Commissioner Diaz,
Yes.
Commissioner Ferguson,
Approved.
Commissioner Fine,
Get approved.
Commissioner Finland,
Approved.
Commissioner Nagaya,
Approved.
Commissioner Phillips,
Approved.
Commissioner Roddy.
Yes.
Motion approved.
All right, I'll skim through this pretty quickly. Some special event updates for all of you. On Saturday, August 30th, we'll have an end of summer pool party at the swim center where we will have food, music, and family-friendly activities. On Saturday, September 27th, we'll have an 18 and up glow-in-the-dark pool party also at the swim center. We will have music, mocktails, creation of glow-in-the-dark cards, and night swimming as part of that event.
Glow in the dark. You did say glow in the dark, right?
Glow in the dark.
Yeah.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. On Friday, August 1st, this coming Friday, we have our backpack giveaway and resource fair over at the James O'Desty Desert Island Unity Center. That event starts at 5 p.m. And our next dive-in movie at the Palm Springs Swim Center will be held on August 16th, which we will be showing Disney's Mufasa. The Lion King and Mufasa is a great movie, so I highly intend everybody to go. If you haven't realized, I'm biased about that. But we're really excited about those upcoming special events for everybody to be able to attend. And then, what's that?
Is this your favorite movie?
The Lion King's movie.
What am I telling you?
You haven't noticed. All right, that concludes special event updates.
Oh, now we're up to ad hoc committee assignments. Has everybody looked at the ad hoc assignments?
So there's a new one we'll have it, and we're gonna.
Correct, but let's start with the existing ones. So currently on the dog park, we have me, Commissioner Roddy, and then we have a vacancy on that one.
But, at a previous meeting, Vaughn Chan said he wanted to be on the dog park and something.
He subsequently wanted to be taken off. So, I mean, we have a new commissioner, just saying.
That has an awesome dog, so. Oh, yeah. I would love to join that.
Put out
Done. Done.
The swim center, we have Commissioner Admire, Commissioner Roddy, and me. I'm more than happy to get off of the swim center ad hoc if somebody else wants to be on the swim center ad hoc. I'm also happy to stay, by the way.
You can have four, right?
Strongly about.
You can have four, you get five on others, right?
I mean, we need to keep it to 5 or less, right? Because we can't have.
Right.
Preferably 2 to 3 each.
Right.
Aside from the double.
Well, the reason we have the lot on the master plan.
Right, yeah. But if nobody feels strongly about joining swim center, I'll just gladly stay.
Okay, cheers.
Okay. Then we have the master plan and park enhancements ad hoc, which is Commissioner Davis, Commissioner Ferguson, Commissioner Nagaya, Commissioner Diaz, and Commissioner Fine. I assume all of you are still happy with that. Okay. Then we have pickleball, Commissioner Finland, Commissioner Davis, Commissioner Fine. All still want to stay there too.
Unless someone really wants to be on it.
Everybody loves pickleball.
Because I like staying on it, but I also wanna do the, I like the nuance.
Okay.
You can come off.
Right.
What?
You can come off if you don't want to be on.
No, I don't mind being on it, I can be on more than two.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So you wanna be on 3?
Well, I wanna be on the arts.
You wanna be on all?
Well, the arts one will be a little different, right? Because it'll be some of our commission, some of the arts commission, plus each of our staff liaisons. And it's really just so that we are involved earlier in the process because as we can attest to, basically they used to just come in and say, this is really put hard. So how many commissioners from here do we want? Because obviously we want the same number of art commissioners, right?
How many art commissions are on?
None yet, I don't think.
Yeah.
They haven't done it yet.
I would recommend probably 2 to 3 at the max for the arts one.
Yeah.
And so that would be our staff's recommendation, that you all get to decide that just at least no more than 5.
I mean, I can't imagine the Arts Commission wanting more than 2 of their commissioners either.
And they're a smaller commission.
They are small, they're 7, right?
We are 11.
So the question is, does anybody feel strongly about this? Okay, of course.
I was not hash.
I mean, realize that the Arts Commission is definitely gonna pick the art.
I know, but.
We're talking more about
So you're
the placement of.
We know about it, because, yeah.
That's why, the reason, I mean, I would love it to be on it, but I'm friends with Gary, right? So I know I could be objective. But I also want other commissioners to have the opportunity to be on that.
Right. Yep. Yeah, so maybe if John, if you allow me to be on the app commission, can I get off of one of either like off the swim center?
You wanna get off the swim center and be on the arts one instead?
Well, yeah, or otherwise I'm on 3.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, I'm okay with that, if everybody else is.
I wanna be on, I don't wanna be on Thursday.
Okay, does everybody feel good about Commissioner Roddy and Commissioner Fine for the new?
I just need you guys to hold the line.
Yeah.
I'll hold it.
Which I don't think so.
No, I
And
will.
so we've been dealing with, and I know he's his friend, but we've been
Yep.
beat up by the Public Arts Commission. I'd like to be on it, but then I'd be at the resident B word. I can't say that I'm doing.
Can I add to this? The reason why this comes out is because John and, I'm sorry, Chair Morelli and I did have a conversation with Chair Armstrong and Jay Barada, the staff liaison for the Public Arts Commission, voicing our concerns about everything that we're experiencing from our side about public art dictating where things are placed in our parks. And so a solution was that we have these 2 commissions partnering, coming up with whatever that written process looks like, so that there's a process that is put in place that forces the 2 commissions to work together. And that also we hold myself and Jay Barada as the liaisons to make sure that we are also communicating so that we can help voice and express any concerns that we're seeing from our end. One thing that I did suggest also is that public art doesn't necessarily know all of the maintenance and issues that we're seeing in our parks, right? Or even what's to come down the line as far as the master plan implementation and future enhancements to our park system. And so that's why this is coming up, so that we can make sure we're communicating with them a little bit more. And also understanding that, you know, they ultimately dictate, but we are strongly suggesting kind of areas and placements so that we can help lead them and guide them moving forward.
But why do they dictate where?
It's in the code. Yeah, it's in the code. And so, but ultimately, which is why I talked about it earlier when I was talking about the roles and responsibilities of the commission, is you all ultimately get to say what occurs in the parks, right? And so if you feel strongly about something not being placed in a park, that you can voice it as part of the commission meeting and say, I really don't want X to be placed in X park. And then we would have to take that, I would have to take that to the staff liaison for public art and have a conversation. And then it could ultimately go to council if the 2 commissions don't agree, that the council ultimately decides. So that is something that needs to be really developed and fleshed out a little bit.
So in other words, we would have this meeting, joint, they would have ideas. I might not like their idea, I'd say, you know what, I wanna take it back to the commission, I'd come back here and say, this is what they wanna do, if you guys like this, we say, no, you don't like it. Right, you don't. Agree to anything until you come back to the
Correct.
commission. right?
Correct, which is why we put on the agenda tonight on item E was an actions for you all to approve in support of these items being placed in the park. So at that point, if you all said, actually, I don't like X art placed there, that was the time for you to have a conversation. And then you could have given me direction to go back and tell the Public Art Commission, well, actually, like the Parks Commission doesn't like this to be placed in that area of the park.
And in all honesty, when he was talking, I couldn't even visualize where he was saying, because I would like to been there, see where it's going, vision. It was
Right.
like, where's the map, what?
We
And
do
I
seem to
heard
have
it from-
lots of times, things are
Right.
placed on and we have to vote on it right then and there and not really have a chance to look at it. Several times on the art stuff, there's been other things, oh, well, we gotta get this to the commission, you know, the next week or two. And you're kind of in a situation where you're kind of being forced to vote on something that perhaps you don't have enough information to make an intelligent decision on.
Right, and I understand, and that's why we're proposing this new ad hoc.
Right.
So the ad hocs then come ahead of each of their proposed commission meetings, so that you get ahead of it, you talk that out thoroughly. And then you either are in support and relay that back to your respective commission, or you're not in support,
We're like
and you
the
voice
last
the
to know.
reasons why.
We're like the last to know, it seems like, when it comes to all this stuff. We wanna be the first to know.
We wanna be in the process.
We wanna be in the conversation.
Correct, yes.
And part of what you're gonna do in this, is you guys are gonna try and shape policy, like how the steps work. So first this happens, then this happens, then this happens, then this happens. That's part of what you guys.
And so they get to pick where they go to the park, is what I'm understanding. They shouldn't get to pick where they go in the park.
It's in the code, that's
What code?
in the municipal code.
Can we change that?
I
I vote to change that.
well, but,
They get to pick the art, they get to pick where it goes.
yes.
So then what
What do we need to do?
what are we here
Yeah, why
for?
are we here?
Well, here's the thing.
We're
I-
spinning
I-
our wheels with this.
I get where they would pick the art, cause like.
Of course.
Well,
But
right.
we should, it should be up to the Parks and Rec Commission on where in our parks the art they pick goes. I
So.
feel so strongly about that.
That is a conversation for the ad hocs to discuss on amending the code, right? Is that you can discuss as part of the process, well, actually, this code doesn't work, it doesn't make sense. We may need to revisit the code. Now, granted, you're gonna have to work together on that to get buy-in from the other commission to see if we need to change that. But that at least opens up the conversation for you all to move that.
And I think, given the conversation and given your passion and your involvement in this issue, I think we should have not just the two of us, but I think you should join us, Jody.
Well, I just said like, you know, I am super busy. The thing is, I don't care about the art's great, it's wonderful, and it really doesn't, it's. The approach that we take and that we are just, I mean, it's only gotten politer, but it's still the same thing.
Yep, agree.
And it's so frustrating to me, and because I have a lot of longevity on this commission and I've seen this, now we're just doing a different dance and we're being a little bit more polite. It's still, I think it's not.
I think we have.
But if you
to
think
check
we've got the opportunity here to negotiate and to talk about how you make it better,
But if they
use this as an opportunity, Jody, to use all that history and the involvement that you've had over the years to bring that knowledge to this.
I'm running a middle school, so that's my problem
No, but the
too.
problem is that we can do whatever we wanna do, but if the policy dictates that they have the ultimate say, then it's just, we're spinning.
Well, like you said,
We have to
have to
change
change
the
the
policy
policy.
language, that's what we have to do.
Yeah,
And guess what? This is my opinion of sorts, right? I find the policy to be a little,
Craig,
yes.
so then let's.
So, but you're gonna have to approach it with, I don't think this spells it out 100%, and here's why. And I mean, I certainly haven't, so I could send it to the two of them.
please do.
We don't have to discuss the policy then, we can go above their head to the cat.
No, you don't wanna do
That's
that
not
either.
gonna
What they are doing
What they are doing to us.
Okay, You don't wanna dig that hole just yet. Oh, boy.
We don't want to do what they did, right?
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Not wanna be the principals.
Yeah. I mean, I trust the two of you guys to do what needs to be done. I'm more than happy to send you.
I mean, we might like where they're putting it. It's,
That's
we don't have to
great.
battle them for every little.
No,
piece.
right.
Pick and
right.
choose your battles, but if it's really not appropriate or it doesn't make sense.
Just change the language,
Yeah.
so that we are able to have a say as to the
Yeah.
location, et cetera, in the process.
Will
That'd
they,
be
whether
great.
we change the policy or not, are they gonna be open to us having a voice about where things go?
It's a public.
Can we even answer that
information.
question before we're in the room together? I mean, we were assuming this is an ad hoc, right? That people are coming together to hopefully find a great and improved solution to where we are.
Right, not just appease us. I don't wanna just be appeased. by-
So
No.
that's why we had a conversation with the chairs of each commission, so that the chairs can help guide the conversations for the different commissions to create these ad hocs that really forces the two of us to really work together, right? And forces staff to really work together so that we have clear path, clear alignment, clear policy on how we move these further. Because one thing that we don't want to do either is dilute and really delay the process a lot longer, right? Is we want to work with them, but we want to get ahead of it, right? And so we're not.
Proactive.
Correct, thank you, yeah, correct.
We're not on.
Are you gonna be at the ad hoc meetings?
Yes, yeah, I will be the staff liaison.
Yes, they're recording it.
Yeah, we're.
I try not to swear.
So, can you add me that ad hoc committee?
I'm sorry, which one, the public art?
The public art.
Because if we have three, then they should also have three.
If they choose.
Why do we have to? That's not like.
We're not gang up on them. Gang up on them.
They're gonna even play this, watch.
Right, exactly. Because there will be some. And the thing is, remember, like, he'll be there and so will their
We'll
staff.
start the same. I
So.
don't know.
Well,
I got a
we're
lot
trying to
to
make it
say.
better, is what we're trying to do. That's all we can do, is try to make it better.
But we can use you as a resource, right, since you've got.
Of course.
Yes, that's exactly the point.
So you don't have to be on the committee, right? You can
Not building this boat all over again.
Gave this directly to him several times.
Yes.
It's not like it's a secret, but
Well, he needs to keep hearing. Jody may not be on the committee, but
Yeah, I know.
she's there in spirit.
Well, we're always get better.
for that, it's fine.
You know, we were both bad guys the first time we met. All right, I think that takes care of that ad hoc, right?
Okay.
We don't find that ad.
Who's on the swim center now?
Wait,
Is Charlie still on it or? Oh,
We called.
I don't remember.
Still has one thing.
Public arts ad.
Arts in the park, I don't know.
That's what we used to.
If you want to have three.
I mean, that's not bad.
I don't know, I'm just. whatever
Okay,
they-
so I'm gonna go through kind of what we just discussed
Yeah,
really
cool.
quickly. So for the dog park commission, we have Chair Moralia, Commissioner Roddy, and Commissioner Phillips. For the swim center ad hoc, we have Commissioner Admire, Chair Moralia, Commissioner Roddy has decided to come off. And so we technically have a vacancy there if anyone else is interested in that. Master plan and park enhancements, we have Commissioner Davis, Commissioner Ferguson, Commissioner Nagaya, Commissioner Diaz, and Commissioner Fine. That has stayed the same. Pickleball has stayed the same with Commissioner Finland, Commissioner Davis, and Commissioner Fine. And our new public art, Parks and Recreation Commission side, commissioners is Commissioner Fine, Commissioner Roddy, and Commissioner Ferguson. How do you feel about that? Any changes or questions? And again, we do have that vacancy on the swim center ad hoc, if anyone has.
He said it
I'm
was so
just telling
fun.
you, it was just, it's gonna be a lot of fun when you get into the whole
Jody's points.
building it. I mean, I love that.
I wanna confirm, you kind of mentioned that you didn't really wanna be on three, was there one you wanted to come off of?
No, I don't mind being
Oh,
on.
you
three.
do wanna, okay,
I
great.
don't mind, but if someone really wanted to be on pickleball, since I don't even play pickleball, I was gonna allow someone else, but I'm totally fine to be on pickleball. Cause to me, that's. It's part of park enhancement, and the dog park will be there, it's like everything, that kind of thing.
Okay, And then I'll get this updated and sent out to you. Okay, great.
Okay, that takes care of ad hoc committee update or. So now we have the ad hoc committee updates. We'll start with dog park. So we had our last ad hoc meeting last month. Our next one is August 9th, well, I can't remember what it is. But at the next one, I'm really hoping that what happens is we have some chairs for these people to pick out.
Okay.
Get
Is this
rid-
the one that you bring a couple of people get to come to that meeting with you? Not everyone, but remember you were gonna bring.
Yeah, is it 4 members of the public?
Five.
Five, okay.
They will be at the next meeting.
So far, at the first meeting, there were 3 of them. At the last meeting, there was 1. But yes, they have the opportunity to be there.
That's us.
And then us, our commissioners who are there and Nick executive.
Oh, they're picking chairs.
I'm hoping that they'll be able to pick chairs at this next.
Oh, we're gonna throw it on.
We've had a lot of discussion about
We already
chairs.
threw the other ones out.
No, they're still there, right? Yeah.
That makes sense.
You'll see the chairs at some point. There's bananas. Anyway, that's dog park update. Pickleball.
Pickleball. Okay, well, as of the last meeting, it was kind of looking discouraging because this has been a long-standing project over the course of about 4 or 5 years. Coming into fruition, and the discouraging part of the last meeting was the bids come in for the project, but they all come in very high. So we, in essence, had to have those bids rejected formally and go back and start again. I was not anticipating that by this evening's meeting, that we'd be in a place where we'd have the bids fully submitted and reviewed, and the city had made a determination on where they were gonna go with a company. But surprisingly, we got to that point, and we mostly have a good forecast for the projects moving forward. But as John had mentioned earlier in tonight's meeting, there were some modifications. So initially with this project, there's gonna be 24 courts in total. And even with the city selecting the lowest bidder, we were still kind of on the high end as far as project completion price wise. So the modifications that were made to the project, we will have 22 courts instead of 24 courts. And instead of the full complement of shade structures, we're going to have every other shade structure on the site. So it's continued to be a work in progress. I went to the city council meeting last week. And they approved the company, the lowest bidder in essence. And I know I'll say the name incorrectly of the company chosen for the construction contract. It's DIRC or DIRC, ENC Incorporated California Corporation. So they will be working on the project, and just bear with me 1 minute. I just want to have a few more notes. I know it's been a long meeting, but I'll just get through this as quickly as possible. So we want to wait till September for city council vote. That's already happened. With some minor modifications, we are now coming in $200,000 under budget for this project. I know this is the precise originally envisioned concept, but I do believe the end product will be fantastic. We don't happen to have a slide as far as the pickleball courts.
I do not.
We don't. Okay.
But I can share that out.
All right. In essence, on the far end of the court, there's going to be the 2 courts that we're minusing. That's where they were to go. But there's kind of an open door for the future that if the funding were to become available, we could add on at a future date. That's not a promise or a guarantee, but it's something that could be feasible in the future to add on those 2 courts. The modifications were within the purview of the engineering department of the city of Palm Springs, within their jurisdiction, to make the modifications. As for the temporary pickleball site, some preliminary work has been completed, as John had mentioned earlier. DG
issue has been addressed, some brush clearing, gates been fixed, some tree trimming has been conducted. And the design for the schematic runs north to south on the courts. Further courtside work will commence, I do believe the finalized date mentioned before was going to be August 4th for the temporary site. And will take about 2 to 3 weeks for completion. When that temporary site is operational, it'll be open from 7 AM to dusk, as there is no lighting there at nighttime. The site has 12 courts, and parking will be accessible via Hermosa. And I don't want to, be getting too overly confident, but hopefully by September of this year, around September, we may be looking at a groundbreaking event. That's not carved in stone, but just casting positive thoughts on the subject. It'll be around that point in time. But that is the latest updates. I have shared this with the ad hoc. They've been apprised of what's happening, what's going on. They convey disappointment with the 2 less courts, but still, the 12 existing courts will be up to standards for pickleball regulations. There'll be 10 new courts added on. We'll still have a championship court there on site. And a lot of the other amenities that were defined by the design consultants at previous meetings, they'll be adhered to, except like the shade structure, there'll be every other shade structure that will be built. So that is where we stand on the project.
And they still can also later, they can still build 2 more. Or what happens if in the best of worlds, they realize we could use another tournament and they can still we're gonna have a second tournament on the other side. I mean, it's always possible, because pickleball is so huge, and then you can have people, coming in more than one tournament for it, right? But just
We'll have a tournament championship for it.
right, you could have maybe a second one if funding comes in later, because you have that space that you're not building those 2. And plus they're getting 10 more courts regardless, they're in a win-win.
Yes.
And yeah. Oh, the 200,000 that you have below budget, can that not be used for shade for the rest of the courts?
It's not enough.
No. I'll do it for 2.
You'll be out there with giant umbrellas or what?
I'll figure something out. 200,000, I'll hold it.
So I have 2 questions. Has the tennis community expressed any displeasure with the demolition of the tennis court, or has it been basically silent?
I've heard nothing.
I haven't heard anything from them. And have we put signage up or anything at the pickleball court yet, giving people the opportunity to like scan something to get an update? So if they go and they say, somewhere in there it should say, we expect the temporary courts to be operational at the time that these are no longer operational, just so, because you know what that rumor mill is gonna be like, right? Oh, they're gonna start tearing down these aren't even built yet.
And the Weston also offered the special rate.
Yes,
That's, yeah.
Yeah, so no, there's not signage there yet, because we're finalizing the construction schedule now.
Okay.
So now that we've awarded the contract, we're finalizing the schedule. Once we have an idea of when we'll be able to open the temporary courts at Barristo and Hermosa, then once we have all those dates, we'll push that out so everybody's aware and well informed. And so we don't want to get ahead of that with wrong information about that schedule, because that's not been solidified. So over the next few weeks, we'll be finalizing that, setting that groundbreaking, setting the time of when we're going to open up the new courts, and then we're good to proceed.
And you'll put up like the kind of notice that you did with the playground remodel or whatever. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, and there'll be a construction sign on the project as well.
Very exciting.
Yeah. Done with pickleball.
Mhm.
Senate.
I think we covered most of the things tonight. Just hope there's not any problems with power or wind. It's something. Been a rough month.
No good. Master plan and park enhancements.
So Nancy and I have been meeting to identify areas where we can support the department. So we'll be meeting next week and then hopefully put together a plan. Just that's about
Perfect. And now that we have this,
Yes, we've been using that.
you guys can make sure, like, Nick, did you already assign a staff member to handle social media announcements? Yes, you did.
I saw you on social media. I like it.
Well, you didn't even bring up like what our, just in the little, you guys follow Parks and Rec on social media first of all, have you noticed how much better it is?
So much better.
Because they hired an outside
Oh,
consultant.
good.
I'm
So you're
assuming
saying they
what
weren't gonna
do.
go?
No, I'm saying this take the specialist, yeah.
It's better, it's good.
But how many followers have you gained already?
There's been about 500 new followers.
Wow.
Which is great, right?
Yeah.
That's it for ad hoc, right? Do we have any commissioner comments?
I was.
Go ahead.
Nick mentioned blue zones.
Mhm.
This Saturday here at the Moot Park at 6:30, they're doing a Palm Springs tobacco waste cleanup.
Yep.
So if you show up with your gloves, they'll provide you with whatever else you need, so.
What was that, Nancy?
It's a Palm Springs tobacco waste cleanup at the Moose Park. Saturday at 6:30 AM,
Picking up cigarette butts.
picking up cigarette butts. So we have a second group of people that wanna help us clean up our parks.
What time is it again?
It's just 6:30 in the morning.
We'll start a fire.
So the other group,
Just what I wanted.
do you know when they're gonna do their next park?
No, they haven't reached out yet.
Okay.
This is people for Palm Springs
Yes.
Parks. They took summer off.
Oh, okay.
Just because of the heat.
Okay.
And so, they said they would re-engage with us in the fall.
Oh, perfect. Okay, great.
Anybody else? I have one short thing to say. Thank you all for voting me back as the chair. I promise I will continue to do as good a job as I can. But I appreciate your confidence in me. And I'm thrilled that Commissioner Guy will be our new vice chair. And thank all the rest of you for everything you guys do.
Yes, thank you.
Anybody else?
August or not, yeah.
Mhm.
See you in
And
September.
September 29th is Donald and my birthday, so.
That's something about on the fourth
We
Monday.
might be having a birthday party at the next commission meeting.
Uh,
Fourth Monday was the
Side note
29th.
is, so side note about that, it's not on the fourth Monday, it's on the fifth Monday, because the fourth Monday is Rosh Hashanah.
Okay, there you go.
November 20th, right?
Yeah.
20th. Anyone else have September birthday? Besides Jody and Donald?
I do.
When?
The fifth.
September 5th.
If there are no more commissioner comments, I'm gonna get a motion to adjourn.
Here.
Okay, motion or meeting adjourned at 8:14 PM. Next meeting is September 29th at the large conference room, not here. Likewise. I didn't hear recording, I stopped.
Can you please repeat that? Oh, sure. Adjournment, can you please repeat that?
Meeting adjourned at 8:14 PM.
But it's 2 months.
Thank you all for